Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast, episode 397. At long last, we can actually talk about the Switch 2 in an official capacity. So, had to bring some people in, of course. Bringing them back for the second week in a row. Our guest tonight, Sunbro Nation.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me on again, man. I'm excited. This time, no more leaks and rumors, man. We got the official trailer to break down and talk about. We know the name, so I'm pumped to be here. Thanks for inviting me back.
Yep. We have Celia joining us. Celia, how we doing over there?
Hey guys, we're good. California is less on fire, so I'm back.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's Celia had some other stuff she was dealing with last week.
Mm-hmm.
People hadn't figured it out, so we were. She said she'd come back when she can, and we were just kind of had the place there for her when she was ready. But it seems I guess things are. I don't know if they're bad. I'm not sure. I'm not there. I don't know if it's better or what. Celia?
Still not great. We're not out of the woods, but some containment is happening. I'm keeping my eye on watch duty and making sure that things are less on fire near me. Thanks, though. I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, we also have MEG with us.
Hello. It's great to be here, John.
Good to have MEG on, able to hang out with us, talk about Switch 2 stuff as well. MEG was there in the morning making a video, so he's I think he's ready to see what this system can do. So, and we have Josie's here. Josie,
hi, happy to be here.
Yeah, you're on a different mic. It's not that you're on a webcam mic or something.
One moment.
You got hit with the Windows updates. They came in strong. Yeah, Windows updates, they'll mess everything up. So we'll come back to her in a second here. Evan, what's up? How's it going, Evan? It's good to have Evan here too. Evan knows all about the Windows updates and what they can do. Not great. Not great. So better?
Is it better?
Yep.
It is better.
You're good now.
My bad,
How you feeling about that Donkey Kong Country HD?
I like it. I've been playing it a lot. I'm already on the fourth world. I like it.
I saw that it was coming up and it was releasing, and I looked back. I was like, that game did come out in 2010, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was like almost 15 years ago. So I assume does this feel kind of like a retro release for you?
It's nostalgic, I played this game when I was a kid, so I like it a lot.
It's that nostalgic release. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like Sean's mad at it, but I'm like, that for some people, it's probably like that nostalgia hit.
Part of the problem over here. Full price 60 day one.
Yeah, I know. It's unfortunate.
Yep.
What do you think of
It's worth it. It's worth it. I haven't booted it up yet, but here's my thing. I remember playing this with a sideways Wiimote years and years back, and that was quite the experience. So I'm excited to play it on a pro controller. And I know there's like little visual complaints and stuff that people are saying, but it's still going to be the best way to play it. I mean, on the Switch, I'm pumped for it.
Sean, how you doing over there? You came in shaking your head immediately, 5 seconds in.
Talking about that ripoff game. But yeah, I forgot it was Friday, honestly.
Oh, that's fine. I figured, the Knicks are 7:30 for you, so.
Yeah, so I'll have to dip out a little bit early, but I'm here.
That's fun. I said tonight mostly boiled down to, I have two main topics, obviously, because the Switch 2 was a big thing, and there were a few other parts of that. And then also the Sony cancellations that took place, because there's head scratching over there right now with some of the stuff we're hearing. But I figure that way we can have more concise and straightforward podcast with that kind of strategy. So we'll see how that goes for a bit here. But that means we should have you out here 7:30 or so for the next game, Sean. No problem.
Well, if not, I'll just leave. So
that's it. Yeah, but I'm saying we can hang out and cover any other questions or stuff that gets submitted. And then I also have the questions over on the Spawncast Network. Of course, people check that out in the description down below, which to make sure MVG's down there too. Make sure everyone's covered. But you check that out because I did.
John?
I put up a thread there for people to ask questions about the two topics tonight. So that way I can also let people know there what the topics are we're going to go over. And then maybe we can interject some of the questions as the topics come up. So Switch 2, Sony cancellations are two big ones. So if you want to get your questions in, you can check it out over there. It is linked down below. And let me see. We had the Switch 2 trailer that did go up 8 a.m. Eastern. First of all, is anyone surprised at the shadow drop? Okay. Is anyone think it's weird if we go back a week from now, be like, oh yeah, Nintendo's just going to shadow drop surprise drop?
I don't think it was weird, John. Look at the light, the OLED. They were just kind of just dropped on Twitter. I know they're they're different. That's a different type of thing because they're just kind of revisions of the same family. But I don't know. Like Furukawa, he's kind of just does things his own way, and I think the Switch right now and making these announcements without really any pre-announcement is kind of the way things have been done for a while. So I wasn't really that surprised by it, to be honest.
I was personally 100% expecting an announcement, but like to MVG's point, that's exactly how Furukawa does things. So yeah, in hindsight, it makes sense that they just shadow dropped it. But I looked at the at least 12 hours heads up notice they did for the Switch 1, and it's like be amongst the first to see our next generation hardware. I actually thought something like that would go out. So when it didn't, I actually thought maybe Thursday morning they're going to tweet that out and it's going to be an evening reveal, but no, it was shadow drop. It was cool though. I mean, it obviously didn't hurt the views.
No, I was going to say the
Interesting
number one trending. I think people were adding up the social media views and it's over 100 million already just in general for that trailer and Switch 2.
I think you should address this comment.
Oh, Gold member says, very curious that you put up the news wave an hour earlier. It's like you were friends with the insider or something. No, what happened was the night before
what happened was
7 a.m. It was the weirdest thing. It's never happened before, but it was just that
so
one
weird.
time. It's super lucky on that. It was crazy, but yes, I put it up 7 a.m. Eastern. I figured, they like to drop stuff around the time of news wave generally, and if they're going to shadow drop it, I'll jump ahead of them. How about that?
Interesting.
And it worked. It worked out. So the 8 a.m. Eastern though, which I don't know how the West Coast did. I know MVG, you were there and ready. Wait, MVG, why were you?
No. I woke
what
up.
What are you doing up at 5 a.m.? Hold on a minute.
Okay, I'm an early riser, John. I woke up. I got a breakfast baconator and a coffee from Wendy's, and when I came home, the trailer was there. So I was like, you know what? I'm getting on this shit right now. So let's go.
You went out to Wendy's at 4 something in the morning just on a whim?
5 a.m., man. Yeah, do it all the time.
Wendy's are open at 5? Okay.
Hell yeah. This Las Vegas, man. 24 hours.
A lot of questions going on here.
I was ready. I was ready to go.
Okay. That's fine. Well, were you surprised, Celia or Josie, when that trailer went up?
I wasn't surprised that it was a shadow drop, to be honest. Like you guys said, that is something that happens. But it did make me miss like E3 when like everyone would have their big announcements and we all were expecting it and ready and eager and watching at the same time. Yeah. Like it was cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Josie? What about you?
I mean, I'd figured something was going to come out, so I woke up at 4:30 and then it got announced and then I went live. So I mean, honestly, it was awful. I don't think I've woken up at 5 a.m. in years. So it's truly terrible, but it was a cool announcement. I had a good time.
Well, at least Nate gave everybody a heads up, which there was some doubt creeping in. I was noticing this. He was people thought it was Wednesday, apparently.
Yeah, can we address that? Like, let's just get this out of the way. So the amount of disrespect that Nate got over 48 hours, 24 hours beforehand was just absolutely abysmal. And it wasn't just from any one camp. It was like journalists. I saw people on Reset Era who, Nate is someone that is on that forum all the time. He's very well respected. They were giving him a lot of shit for it. I saw, forum members, industry people, journalists, everyone was attacking Nate. And you know what? People need to apologize. I know some people have, turned around and said, hey, I thought you're full of shit and I'm sorry, I apologize. But some people haven't. Some people have just kind of moved on. And honestly, I think Nate deserves a lot more respect than he's been given, because it was absolutely unacceptable, in my opinion. Just the way people were fucking carrying on about it, it was absolutely absurd.
Yeah, it was pretty funny as he had to respond to a couple people like, do you know how to read a calendar? And
saw that one. That was good. You're right, it was getting out of control, MVG. And there, I will say, legitimately, there were some people that did apologize. They came back and were like on the Nate the Hate the show on the comments. Some people came back and were like, oh,
Sorry. So, hey, some people came back. I think other people just kind of moved on real quick. And we're like, Sean made a whole video the night before and then yelled at people again the next day in his comments.
And then yelled at them on the Game and Talk last night.
Yeah.
And then yelled at them on Game Talk.
Yeah.
Man.
Sean's
We
been yelling a lot.
need Nate to make his return now. He
He's
said he was probably just gonna sail away if nothing happened on Thursday.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. He should take a little bit of a break because the stuff that he had to put up with was just ridiculous.
Nate, if you're out there, hop in the podcast real quick. Get your victory lap and then leave.
Fully doubt he will do that.
He's probably at work still.
Is he? Maybe he is. He's got a Galaxy S5. I think StreamYard works with that. I think it will. I don't know. It might explode. Actually, I'm not sure. I don't even know if Discord works on that thing. Galaxy S5 is quite old. Anyway, the Switch 2 reveal, it's in. How are we feeling about what we saw there? Because there were some mixed thoughts on this thing, which is weird since it seemed exactly like most of us were expecting. I can't say everyone because we're fairly plugged in. I'm sure there are plenty of people who didn't follow the leaks and didn't really know what to expect going into it. I do have a couple of friends that aren't as invested in a lot of the stuff online or keep up to date. So let me double check what they said about it. But what were your thoughts on the overall view of it?
A lot of my friends were pretty surprised that it was just a sequel. They're like fairly like not involved. They just have casual Switches and stuff, but they were shocked that it was a direct sequel. But I'm happy with what it is. It looks exactly like the renders, like exactly, which was kind of crazy. But yeah, I was happy with it.
Say it looks Switch 2 looks way better than the leaks, but they said Mario Kart's not going to motivate them to pre-order it. Okay.
I feel like the leaks like literally had it straight on though.
Oh yeah, some of those renders were incredibly close. Like they were like dead on just about. There were, I think, the few things they missed, like the colored buttons on the left side where the D-pad would be. They had those colored in blue, which actually didn't look terrible or anything. But that wasn't the case for it. Otherwise, though, it was pretty accurate overall. Which, I mean, next handheld, I guess, really is somebody in a factory or something taking pictures of this thing because it all lined up.
As soon as we saw that kickstand extended out in the trailer, I was like, oh, that's legit the picture that Next Handheld posted, you know, with the weird watch over the sweater that everybody's like, this is AI, it's BS. And I was like, man, I mean, the background, sure, he was good at changing backgrounds, but no, we just straight up saw a picture of the tablet because the kickstand was dead on. I mean, everything was that he posted.
Yeah, it's funny to look back on some of those leaks and stuff that get out there that people are questioning, and now we see it and it's, oh, okay, that was all legit. So Nintendo, I assume, is going to figure out where that was coming from because it's pretty clear this was going on. They even posted a picture of just the Joy-Cons outright on Wednesday, just before the reveal was. So I assume Nintendo will figure that out. But AI made it seemingly making these a lot easier to leak this stuff out and not get caught right away. Just completely edit out the background without any issues. So it did seem like some people were a little, I don't say underwhelmed, but they weren't as excited. And some people were saying because of the leaks. The leaks are, we had Kamiya who said that he hopes going forward, people will be cursed who are leaking it out. They just have dog poop on their shoe whenever they walk anywhere.
And I hope that Kamiya doesn't fucking do another Kickstarter for Wonderful 101, but you know, we don't always get what we want in life.
It'll be a GoFundMe. It'll be fun.
Go fund Wonderful 102. Oh, that's gonna be great.
To be fair, guys, I do feel like the leaks made this announcement very lackluster. And it's like, you know, we all know my stance on these type of things, and I have a lot of thoughts and feelings because some leakers are my friends, but also like I have a lot of friends, you know, in the industry that this did affect. And I don't know, I feel like there's like a lot of things with like this announcement because it's such a step up from and building upon the first Switch. You know, there isn't many things to be excited about since we already knew what it looked like. And yeah, I don't know.
Do you think if it wasn't leaked, like we didn't know what the case and everything looked like, the screen, and that reveal trailer dropped yesterday, you would be more excited? Because like for me, I'm not sure who said it. Someone said it just before, but it just seems like a next iteration of the Switch, right? So like it didn't really seem like it brought anything interesting and different to the table. And I want to be very clear, that's not what I'm saying that it should have, because I think what Nintendo has provided is exactly what I think people want. It's what I was looking for. So I'm pretty happy with what they showed us. But like, I feel like there's only really so much they can surprise us with, you know, if we're talking about a successor to the Switch. When you know that, you know, their approach was to continue to use the hybrid model. So we guys, like, if you didn't know about all this leak stuff beforehand, would you be more surprised by this? Because it just felt like another handheld reveal to me.
You know what? What I would feel. Go ahead, Celia. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it didn't feel good. I don't know. I think maybe I'm just jaded and just grumpy about this. But okay, I could be misremembering. But when they announced the original Switch, didn't they have like a commercial with it where like it was a person walking around with the Switch and putting it away, and like it just felt like a full production?
Yeah.
Where this just felt more of like a tech demo to show investors rather than like exhibiting to consumers.
Yeah, because that's what this essentially was. I mean,
that's a bummer.
But I mean, that's business.
It's not even a real tech demo. It's just they're magnetic now. Have fun.
Yeah, like I mean, it's a thing for investors because you have the investors meeting, you have the end of the fiscal year. You know, you had to do something, or else those investors were going to be breathing down your throat.
But it just doesn't feel like the Nintendo marketing way of like what their patterns are and building a story like through appealing to human emotion. I don't know. It doesn't feel the same. I don't know.
So you think, Celia, if they kind of reenacted what they did with the Switch, where they had scenarios where people were using this thing, and then they occasionally showed off-screen footage of a game, like we saw a 3D Mario, which is Mario Odyssey. We saw Splatoon in there as well, Mario Kart, NBA. You think if they kind of did that again for like 3 minutes, it would have just been a bit more. It would have been more exciting to see all this.
Yeah, I think that would have hit better, but that's just in my personal opinion, and that's what would appeal to me, and I guess a lot of like the consumer market that they already appeal to.
But I think you bring up a good point. Yeah, the original Switch trailer was you know, it had all that live action stuff going on, right? Which made it interesting because they were trying to sell us on the concept. We already know what the concept is, but I do agree that this kind of trailer that they showed us, the reveal, was very kind of sterile. It was just like, you know, just showing us a 3D render of the thing spinning around and everything like that. The Joy-Cons, it was kind of cool, but there was no, you know, there's really nothing else. So it kind of felt like the PS5 Pro reveal almost, where they just showed the system and they didn't really say anything else. So I don't know. I think, you know, Nintendo knows exactly who they're trying to sell this to, who they're marketing this to. And I don't feel like they needed to really do anything beyond that. But yeah, I get your point. I think it was a little different this time.
Did anybody else feel like this? Sorry, go ahead, Celia.
Oh, no, I was just saying, and with that said, maybe they're saving it for whatever they're featuring the new gimmick to be. Like, that could be what they're saving the really cool trailer for. Because Switch's whole gimmick was that you can take it out of the console and walk around. It was portable. So maybe it's just a half step, and we'll get it whenever they have their next trailer. Okay, what would you say? Sorry, I was interrupting.
No, you're good. I was just, did anybody else like have a comparison in their mind to it felt like Apple when they reveal like a new phone, and it's like, you know, it's the iPhone, so you're gonna get it. They're just trying to show off, here's the old iPhone, now it morphed into this, and it looks more and more similar each time. I felt like Nintendo was taking like a hardware focused trailer, not like the Apple presentation, but just like the marketing trailer itself. Like even some of the music and the high notes that they hit and stuff, I was like, this feels like it has a hint of Apple's marketing in there. And I feel like they're banking on the fact, like it was in one of their slides, like they have 127 million active Nintendo account sign-ins on an annual basis on the Switch. I feel like they were just saying to all of that user base, like, we know you guys want more powerful of what you have. So they started off the trailer with showing the Switch 1 and morphing it into a 2. Like it felt like a very just, we're not selling you on anything new that this does necessarily. This is exactly, you know, what you have, but a better version of it, bigger, and it plays your old games even in the trailer. So I get why some of the excitement might be like lacking from that kind of announcement, but it felt like to me they were just justifying this is a hardware upgrade for everybody that's been waiting this whole time, you know?
Do you think
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
like an effort to be taken more seriously, almost like kind of like how
Could be.
Apple's sort of like prestigious? That's kind of what they were going for. You know?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the early adopters for this, I know obviously their kids will be getting this thing too, I'm sure, for Christmas and other birthdays and stuff. The early adopters, first, second year, I mean, I assume it's going to skew heavily towards more adults who have the Switch now, who want to buy it and are willing to, throw the money, which we don't know the pricing yet, but even, I mean, 400, I'm not really interested in buying that for a kid, $400. I'd get them the old Switch or something like that, and you play this library until you're ready for that. So, I mean, in that case, you might be right. It did feel like it was more professional, more adult, more. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. It didn't feel as, like you mentioned, Celia, how they have like actors and actresses and stuff showing it in different scenarios, and here are all these Nintendo-like games playing. It felt like it was geared towards more of like an older audience, technically, with the reveal.
I don't know, gearing towards an older audience doesn't mean
Room
we
of
should necessarily
investors.
take out. Yeah, investors, I guess. Yeah, because it's kind of
too,
like
yeah.
one of those things where they took out the fun. And that, I think that's what I feel jaded and bummed about.
What I felt when I saw that would have been relief of like, okay, they're not going to do something weird. All right, good, because that's we didn't get the Switch Pro, the Rubber Switch Pro. We never got that. If we had the Switch Pro, then the Switch 2 definitely would have been like, okay, I guess it's just more of that, which is kind of what we feel right now with the PS5 Pro, where the PS5 feels strong enough for most people, and they're like, oh, okay, there's a Pro. Okay. So not having that Switch Pro definitely makes this look like a much bigger jump in general. But that would have been my thing. Is I'm glad they're not trying to Wii U up this situation where it's just weird things for the sake of it just being there, and it's going to be just more of the same, the concept, but just building on top of it.
I was real afraid of that Nintendo Switch attach name that was going around on Google surveys, you guys remember that? Nintendo Switch attach. I was like, man, that sounds like Nintendo, and it sounds like an accessory too. Let's hope they don't, and at least it's Switch 2.
Yep, that top once that USB that top USB-C port was shown and mentioned in that motherboard leak, and people were talking about it. It's like, oh, maybe that is a thing. It's the attach. No problem with it just having a 2 on the end. I don't feel like you have to overthink it. But I mean, some people, I saw it online on social media. I think Sean, you did a video on it.
Yeah,
people seemed
it's all
they wanted more creative Nintendo. Was that it?
I mean, you're never gonna please everyone, though. It's just like
but
you're
it's
gonna
all
piss
bullshit.
people off regardless.
All these fucking articles that keep popping up. Where's the fun in the Switch 2? You motherfuckers are the same ones who complained about the Wii U, who complained about the Wii U gamepad, and that's why that was a flop. You hated fucking motion controls with the Wii, but now you have this revisionist history where this was the greatest fucking shit ever. I like this more business approach. I like this more less fuck around sort of thing. Be like, hey, here's the system, bada bing, bada boom. It's bigger, it's better, it's badder. You had success. The whole thing about innovation is most of the innovation that Nintendo did came out of necessity. Why did they do the GameCube to the Wii? Because the GameCube got trounced by the PlayStation 2, and they realized that it wasn't a fruitful effort. So they had to reinvent the wheel and do something different. And then the Wii worked for a while. They tried to capitalize on that by once again being creative with the Wii U, and it fell flat on its face. And then the Switch came along, and that was extremely successful. So you could try and reinvent the wheel again, or you could look at the situation and be like, hey, you know what? This worked really well. I don't think any of us anticipated this being potentially one of the best, if not the best selling systems of all time. Let's keep it simple, stupid. KISS, essential thing you learn in business. Just do what got you to the ball game, make it bigger, make it better, make it badder, and then, ride that out. Like I don't get a lot of these revisionist history remarks. And plus you have innovation with the weird mouse thing that you still don't know about. Like, I don't know. It's been very perplexing to me.
Yeah. There's also something about the continuity to it as well. People talk about how they want a lot of the third-party games to eventually make their way to Nintendo's platform. well, if it's stronger, that's great. But if they do something weird like a second screen with the Wii U, then I mean, my third party is like, maybe we can make it work. In this case, it's like you said, it's the Switch again with it looks like the mouse, the idea of the mouse, but that doesn't necessarily get in the way if you don't want to use it. It's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of the IR port. It's like how many companies used it, and if they didn't, it wasn't a huge deal. They could just kind of ignore it. Which you know what? There were a few. Like what was it? Was it Revelation, Sean? Resident Evil, where to reload you would cover up the IR port and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's a cool idea, but if you didn't want to use it, you just didn't. That was it. It didn't mess with the overall concept of the system. So I actually prefer the continuity here, and if that does lead to just more third parties, and it can kind of fix up the thing that Nintendo has always lacked is are kind of missing out on a lot of those games, then I think that's the move. That's the method. So I mean, the Switch initially didn't have a lot of third party support because the Wii U didn't exactly leave a good impression on them. No, it just took them a while to catch up.
Compare the Wii U third-party support at the launch to the Switch's third-party support. Night and fucking day, you had nothing.
People forget about that the Wii U actually had a lot of third-party support. That was the last time Madden was on a Nintendo platform.
You had
last time Call of Duty as
Call
well.
Call of Duty, yeah, Black Ops 2, I think.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And now it's coming back. It's coming back this year.
Nintendo's Mindy program for the Wii U was incredible. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, yeah,
they were really active.
They had to. Damon Baker was running that shit, and he was seeking out. Damon Baker was running the head of the indie stuff there, and he was seeking out games to be ported to the Wii U. Like, it was that serious because we were in contact with him all the time on the website. It was a completely different ball game.
It was awesome.
I think that's be the biggest thing to follow are the third party support, because that's kind of been the weak spot for Nintendo. If they get it to where you don't have to question if that Switch 2 logo is popping up at the end of the next, we'll even say like a next FromSoft game or even the next Madden, next wrestling game, whatever, like next basketball's pretty consistent, but like all those yearly titles that come out, Call of Duty will have it at the end of it. Seems like this year it should. I mean, it's going to be kind of a different ball game for Nintendo then. So that'll be the most interesting part for me, is to see how that works with it. But the C button, I assume everyone noticed that wasn't there. Well, it was there, but it didn't have the C on it.
Right. Because they don't want people. It's going to be in the April 2nd thing.
Yeah.
It's missing. Are they going to add it to it? Like in the show that all of a sudden a C is going to just engrave into it?
They could.
Yeah.
There's a 3D. Remember, it's just a 3D render. So
yeah, there's the creativity for Celia. The engraving of the sea.
I hope it's a Sailor Moon magical girl transformation.
It could be Infinity Nikki.
And it twirls. Oh my god, it'd be just like Infinity Nikki. Sean, you need to play that game. Let me know how it is.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. That could be a part of the creativity. Yeah, maybe.
Well, there was the rumor that was going around was that, I don't know how credible this is from data mining stuff, but I guess the C button would be in some way linked to the idea of voice chat and group chat on this Switch 2 system, which
it was campus or community, I think was the term everyone kept throwing out.
Like code name for it. Yeah. And if you have group chat and voice chat in there at like a system level, then I do wonder what their plans are just in general for like online community and making it so you can even message your friends, which is a crazy concept, I guess, but that's next gen right there for them. Message your friends. I like the idea of them actually doing that finally, because it feels like whatever we get to start the generation is mostly what we're going to have at the end of the generation, just based on what we've seen with the Switch. I guess they did eventually add wireless headphones or the ability to sync that up, but they didn't all of a sudden say, okay, now you can message your friends. Now you have like system level voice chat. They didn't even change the themes. It's still like just either white or black theme. Like that's it. So it kind of feels like whatever they show us at the beginning is most that we're working with throughout 2025 release, 2033 by the end of the generation. So yeah, let's make sure that's there, because the multiplayer experience on the Switch is all over the place. It is not like when we play Call of Duty or Halo or whatever on the Xbox. It's so easy. You're in the group, you're in the chat, you hit a button and it invites everybody. Like that's it. and that just is not the case with the Switch. So if that C button really is there for that, good. That is absolutely needed for the system.
I'm not giving up on the cast idea. You can cast this thing to your TV. That's what I think.
The cast, just wirelessly cast.
That would be that creativity right there, because that would be great.
The Wii U 2 without the name. Yep.
But like it could be it'd be so optional because you wouldn't be able to use it for handheld. So it basically, I'm envisioning it just being a good thing for like DS emulation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cast to the dock.
Yeah.
It'd be all right, I guess. It's interesting because Nintendo just seems so terrified of letting people interact online. They're just so worried about it. But eventually, you got to put the responsibility on the parents and the people actually using the product.
Yeah, my thing with it, because I always hear that too, and I agree. But it's like, just lock it behind parental controls and get modern. Like, again, one of the other investor slides they had at one point, it's like 75% or something like that. Of course, this is according to Nintendo account information, which is probably way off. But there are mainly adults that are using this console. The Switch has attracted like a hardcore user base, and Nintendo fans have grown up now. Like a lot of them are in their 30s, 40s plus. It's not something that you need to restrict that entirely as a system feature just because you're worried about a certain percentage of the audience that you can turn that off with parental controls. I think also like that the fact that we're maybe talking about Mario Kart being the launch title for this thing, that's a multiplayer focused game. Like, if they do something cool as like a single player adventure tacked onto it for single player, that'd be awesome. Like a Diddy Kong Racing mode where you go through a straight up, campaign, that'd be cool. But let's be real, like 99% they're going to do it focused around multiplayer. But having chat there day one and having just the ability to pull up a community center that you can connect with your friends, I think it's essential. And I think it's the most likely thing that it is tied to. I don't know how credible that data mining is either, but I hope it's for just that game base that comes up where you can see your friends online, message them, and hop into rooms together.
Okay. The hands-on events. Is anyone going to these?
Fuck no.
I signed up, but it was like it's a lottery system. So you sign up and you don't even. It does a little drawing. It's kind of ridiculous, and the site crashed right at 12. Yeah. So I was in there for a solid 40 minutes trying to get that thing.
Apparently, we can sign up for the next few days.
Scalping that.
I don't think you can scalp it because it's lottery system.
You have to give them your Nintendo account. Yeah, you'd have to give them your Nintendo account.
I'll let my friend borrow that.
Well, apparently this site will be up for a few days, so you don't have to sign up immediately right now to get your name in there. But it's gonna be a lottery system, and they have it in New York, LA. Like this website's getting decimated with people. Yeah, there's a lot of people obviously in those areas, and it's gonna be chaos.
They have them all over too. There's like some in London and
there's one in Melbourne, my hometown.
There's one in Melbourne.
No, London's your hometown.
That's in London? That's crazy.
Shut the fuck up, Sean.
Well, there you go. If you go back, you can you go back for a visit. You can pop into the hands-on event.
Well, I am planning on traveling back this year, but not during that time.
Oh, well, we did the one for the first Switch. I actually went to the hands-on event that was in DC, and it was actually pretty good. Like they were pretty quick to get everyone through, and everyone wanted to play Breath of the Wild anyway, so I could walk around and play things like Street Fighter was there, as Disgaea I think was one, and Mario Kart, and Bomberman. I think that was the other one. But basically, everyone just kind of went there. They had couches and stuff set up, and you played for a bit, and you had to get a ticket to get in line for Breath of the Wild. So I assume it'll be like that, where they have. I'm trying to think of what games. I mean, I guess they'll show them in April, but that's the biggest thing, or what games they'll have for display.
They'll have Super Mario Brothers NES running on it, so you can check out Nintendo Switch Online. And
they did have Switch cookies there last. I remember that. That was a big thing. They gave you a cookie.
Probably could have taken one and sold it on eBay.
People were scalping. I remember that. People were selling them for a lot, actually decent money.
How much were they scalping it for? Out of curiosity,
I think they were selling for like $30 or $40.
Jesus.
Remember the Mario breakfast
cereal?
Yeah, the cereal.
Yeah, but it was also an amiibo.
You still have
30 or $40 in like 2017 money. It's like
Still not as
$150
crazy as the Van Gogh Pokemon cards. That shit was crazy.
Oh yeah, no, that was mayhem. That Pokemon scene. Oh gosh, the cards there. People are fighting in Costco over these Pokemon cards. It's crazy.
Saw that.
Fucking idiots.
It's crazy.
I mean, I'll try to get. I'll say, hey, if they pick me for the New York, I'll go up there and check it out. I heard Jeff Keighley's going to be there on Friday, so I'm going to try to sign up for the Friday one. Me and Sean will go by.
I'll be stabbing motherfuckers at an event.
That's your
like
best
that.
friend, man. You gotta say
Again,
hi.
Keely likes you, and he would probably just come up to you and say hello.
I didn't say I'd stab
really
him. I'd
nice,
stab
Sean.
the other people, all the New York Nintendo weebs that cry when Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC is announced at a Nintendo Direct, and they're all
You're
huddled
so
in at Nintendo
grumpy.
New York.
You are so grumpy.
That's weird, bro. Why
It's
are you so
so
excited
crazy
for
how
some
grumpy
DLC?
you are.
Like freaking the
You-
fuck out.
Keely
That shit
just
is-
wants to be friends, and you're out here
I'm not
bullying
talking about
him.
Keely. I'm not.
I know. I'm just.
I'm not talking about Keely. I'm just saying
Oh my
this.
God.
This shit is weird to me, dog. I'm the only one here who bought a Switch 2 accessory already. I have it right here. My
Which one?
SanDisk micro SD express card.
You know that's actually not bad to use for like 4K or 6K footage too.
Yeah, I'm really gonna start filming in 4 and
I-
6K.
I was
Videos
setting
are
you
about
up for
to
that.
really go crazy.
I feel like you're about to
quality.
switch back to like 480p or something. Just get the retro feel.
Well, at least you're ready, Sean, for SD Express, and then they give us some other format that you don't have. We do have our direct as well set, which this was people thought it was February 4th at first.
Go ahead, John.
Oops, I
They
forgot.
thought it was
to talk.
February. They thought it was February 4th at first,
Right.
and then it was
now they know
quickly
it's-
realized that was the Nintendo UK account. And actually, it's April 2nd, so it's not in a few weeks; it's in a few months, and that kind of threw some people off because there was. I'm glad. Thank you for putting RGT in there, Sean, making sure that.
Yeah,
everybody
I was
for
clearing it up. I felt bad.
Yeah. So we have to wait until April now for this. They showed us the system. They did show a game, which we'll get to here in a minute, but that was kind of it. They didn't really show us any other games. So we have now seen the system, a bigger, better Switch 1, but no games to play on it yet. We'll find out 2.5 months. People seem kind of sad about that too. That we got to wait a while for this
Well,
one.
you remember because the UK trailer for some reason dropped first, and so you know how it's day, month, year in the UK. So everyone was like, "Oh, February the 4th, easy. It's only a couple of weeks away, no problem." And then they realized that it wasn't. So people were disappointed at that.
Yeah, that is kind of a shame in that case because it seemed like we were pretty close. Then nope, we're months away, and basically have to wait to that to see what games Nintendo's going to bring to this thing. Exclusive games mostly, because I think we're going to see some more Switch 1 games here soon. But the Switch 2 exclusives clearly are what's needed here, and that's the interesting thing about that Direct. Okay, so we have Mario Kart, which we'll come back to that Direct in a minute, but Mario Kart was shown. That was the game. And all right, so initially when they were showing it, it popped up on screen. I started laughing a little bit because I'm like, are they really going to show us Mario Kart 8 Deluxe right this? No, it's new Mario Kart. As you see more of it, okay, yeah, they're like DK looks different. The racing on a track that is unfamiliar. Okay. And then they zoom out. People notice in different screen grabs and stuff that it appears to be 24 people able to race around, which that's actually an interesting concept. Just having more racers on one track sounds chaotic, but I mean, I assume that means that the tracks themselves will just have to be larger.
They seem
also thought
pretty
about,
big. If you see
Go,
that,
Jess,
like,
yep.
I was just saying they seem pretty big. If you see that, like where you can count all 24 racers.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yep,
tracks are kinda
the
massive.
roads seem wider, and I got to make up more room for it. I know people are thinking about the racing aspect. I immediately thought of like the battle, like the multiplayer battle stuff, the 24 people in one
You think it'll
room.
go that big for that mode?
I hope so. That would actually be pretty cool if they could like get that many people into battle in maybe the big donut I said with the lava in the middle, that classic track from way back in the day, have 24 people on that thing. That would be crazy. So that's the part I'm hoping for. But I guess even 24 people online playing this game, racing around, that would feel like a legitimately new experience. But I'm trying to I feel like you can't. I feel like that's not enough necessarily. There's got to be something else to Mario Kart,
Yeah,
and that's the thing I'm trying to figure out.
There clearly is going to be, but people, it's this fucking TikTok age, instant gratification. I
Not
need
for
to
too
know
much
everything.
longer.
Yeah, I know. I need to know everything. I need to know everything right now. I gotta wait till April 2nd. Oh, that's so long. It's like, okay, well, let's say they did do it February 2nd or 4th because of the UK thing. That's not going to make the system come out any sooner. So then you're just going to bitch about the fact that you have to wait for the system to come out now. It's like, I don't know. It seems like a weird thing to be so, upset about. Like it'll come in time. It'll come in time. There's probably going to be some weird thing that you probably don't even think about. I know. So what was someone saying last night, Josie or Celia, about like pit stops or something like that? Like
someone posted the
Oh,
gas tank and the fact that the gas station and the thing had what looked like a place you could drive through.
Yeah, and there was like something like maybe coins would decipher how fast it goes or something like that, or something along those lines. Like there's obviously going to be something, but the whole thing about Mario Kart 9 is the same thing with the Switch 2. What's the most successful Nintendo game ever?
The Wii U game.
Tetris on the
Mario
Game
Kart
Boy.
Deluxe.
Okay, that doesn't count, MVG.
Okay.
But
He was going for Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. So you're gonna take
There you
upon
go.
that. Yeah, you're gonna take upon that. You're gonna build it. That's not a pack-in game, Chiron. You're gonna take upon that. You're gonna build upon that. You're gonna make it bigger, better, and better. Like once again, it goes into the whole business side of things. Keeping things simple, showing you the most popular game on the Switch that sold a stupid amount of just how much. Like I'm still blown away by how much that sold. So that made sense to me for that to be the game. If there only had one game there, just a little tease, like that was going to be the game.
To jump on what Sean's talking about, I think we're overthinking the Mario Kart like visuals, because it's probably a really, really early version of the game, and more of as a teaser than like an actual showcase. Because I know we're all getting excited, like, oh, DK's different. That could be a skin. That could be they're just throwing in things just not to spoil their new surprises for what the actual characters are going to look like. I would kind of view it more as a tech demo that's actually going to come out eventually than a trailer. Because like another thing, I think I mentioned this on Game and Talk, because I pay attention to these things. Whenever Nintendo is using game footage and it's as an example or in marketing in a trailer and it's intended to showcase the game, there will be a disclaimer like not actual game footage, or it'll say actual game footage recorded on Nintendo Switch. They will have that legal line marketing copy if it's actually intended to be like an actual representation of the game. On the tech demo note, like the video showed Mario emoting, and I don't think that happens in the current Mario Kart games. I haven't personally looked, but it was cool for them to show off certain things, like in different visuals of what Mario Kart could be on next generation. I'm excited to see what the games look like and what they use for the gimmick for whatever they decide to do for it.
That said, is this game cross-gen?
No, what the hell?
No, I don't think
That
so.
would
No?
be
Get off
insane.
the fucking show, you piece of shit.
You're hoping.
Jesus Christ.
Too much of a selling point for Switch 2. They just wouldn't do it. I mean, they could. You can look at their like launch history and say that cross-gen makes the most sense because the Zelda game always gets a cross-gen release if that's the the launch game. But no, for Mario Kart, this is going to be the reason why a lot of people hop to the Switch 2 earlier rather than later. And this is like a gameplay mechanic idea, but I don't know if you guys caught onto this. And maybe these are speakers, but it looks like there's a thing like lights that are propped up in that canyon track. That it looks like they're like how you would illuminate the track at night if it was at night. And maybe they're just, the other argument is maybe that they're just speakers and they look like lights. But to me, they look like lights that would turn on. And it made me question if there's going to be a day-night cycle and maybe even weather in Mario Kart, as weird as that sounds.
That'd be
Weather
cool.
technology.
That could be cool.
Yeah,
Sound weird at
weather
all.
technology. It's all coming back full circle.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be here for it. Even imagine if they actually got as crazy as when it's raining out, the drift mechanics and sliding and, it's a little bit different type of thing. It would just be a real cool way to, you've played all these tracks, but now you have a reason to replay them under a different weather and time condition or whatever the case is. So I would like if they got more technical with stuff like that. I'm hoping that Nintendo, with the sales success they had for 8 Deluxe and all the time they've had on their hands to develop this, that this next Mario Kart needs to be like just a straight up banger out of the gate. So, I mean, as far as new ideas and taking it to the next level, I even hope they do like a battle royale mode online, you know, where it's like elimination style racers. You start with 60 and you can spectate if you get eliminated, or you have to make it to the end where it's like the final 4 or whatever, you know, something crazy like that would be cool.
I want them to put a double dash mode in here, but I don't think they're going to do it.
Incredible.
I need it.
So there would be disappointment if there was a Switch and a Switch 2 logo at the end of the trailer.
That'd be so stupid. Like, why would you buy that? Why would you buy the Switch 2?
Clarify.
Imagine that's the only launch game. Hey guys, we're launching a new system with one game that you can also buy on your old system. That'd be wild.
People will still complain. Like, we still get tweets of people complaining that we're not releasing things on 3DS or Vita.
How dare you?
People are stupid.
I know. I'm like, the
especially on
factories
Twitter.
are closed.
It's an interesting point, though, because like at the end of last year, you know, they had the big holiday thing, you know, selling Switches, talking about the games. Mario Kart sold well again. So to ask people to move to a Switch 2 6 months later or something like that with a new Mario Kart game, some people may not initially at least jump on board. I would say the ones that kind of hopped onto the Switch late in its life cycle, potentially. But I do agree that it's most likely just a Switch 2 exclusive. And I think it'll have new features, new gimmicks, and a compelling reason why you need to upgrade to this new Mario Kart versus Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have some they're gonna have exclusives, obviously, to get people to move up. Something crossed my mind, potential for that. But I mean, we'll see in April. Which
I feel like Metroid Prime 4 is going to be cross-gen, but I don't know if like a deliberately made for like Switch 2 game would go back to Switch 1.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right. Like they probably have to. I assume they'd have to cut down like that. I assume they wouldn't have 24 people on the Switch version. They have to cut some stuff out and do things to make that even
They can
work.
they can also sell the games at $70 as well and get away with it.
Oh,
versus
they most. I expect that 70 on that Mario Kart giant.
Oh,
we got 24 people online now. We got to make it more expensive.
Gotta get those servers up. We might even raise the online fee for your little service there, NC.
That's actually a good point, Evan. I think you might be onto that. I assume with the Switch 2 generation introduction, they're going to start raising some prices on things like games and the online service.
I think it's still going to be a monthly fee for peer-to-peer because that's always fantastic to think.
Well,
of.
it's 50 now. I assume it's going to 60 or 70 per year.
Better add
one of the two.
I mean, I will say that all these little network tests they've been doing, and even F-099 stuff like that. All that stuff hasn't just been in a vacuum. I think they've been focusing a lot on trying to improve their networking infrastructure. And if they do have a 24 Mario Kart launch game, I mean that's pretty big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that obviously. Yeah, Mario Kart, biggest game they had on the Switch now. That would be huge to launch with. That might be a situation where people are buying the game even if they can't find the Switch 2, like what happened with Breath of the Wild. We had like more than a 1-to-1 attach rate, which is crazy. So absolutely could have happened there. The Direct, however, as we mentioned, the price and release date stuff. Well, when do we think the system's coming out then? If we just want to get some predictions in on that, because I think Nate mentioned May or June.
June.
Yeah, I don't think May is. If you're doing that April 2nd, I think end of June would be the soonest, in my opinion.
Well, there's still like the tests thing that they're doing where you can test out the system. That's still happening through May, so I'd imagine it'd be at the end of it.
So like
June or July.
Yeah, June.
First half of June, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't say July. They'll come for you. The community will come for you.
They come for me anyways.
I like June 5th personally. It's a Thursday. It's when Nintendo's been releasing their first party software for like the first weekend of the month. I don't know. I like June 5th, but who knows?
I mean, here's the big one though. How much do you think the system's going to be when it's time to actually announce the pricing?
$400.
Yeah.
Probably 400.
Okay.
I hope so. Okay. I hope it's 400. But I have seen some talk, and I do understand why there's some thinking of 449 or even up to that. I don't think they want to do 500 though. They don't want to be next to a PS5 disc model, same price. So
Nah, I think 500 is too much for them for that. I but 450 wouldn't shock me if they said 449. I'd be like, okay, maybe.
I'm gonna stick with 450. So when it's 400, my inbox on freaking Twitter can fill up by people who think I care. So that'd be great.
450 just wouldn't shock me if they showed up with that. It's just 400 is $50 more than that Switch OLED. That just looks weird.
No, because you'll drop the price of that.
Why they keep saying the margin on that Switch OLED is less than the margin for the Redbox Switch. So I don't know how much wiggle room they have on that.
But it doesn't matter if it's not the lead platform anymore.
You know what the move would be, Sean. People aren't gonna like this. You have the Switch 2 at 400. You discontinue the OLED and you keep the Redbox Switch.
Sure,
That's insane.
Why? I don't think.
Why would you? Why would they?
Not, because it's business. I mean, that's a smart business move. If you got a better profit margin, if you can afford to drop the price of the original much more than you can afford to drop the OLED, you just phase out the OLED, and then you clear out the lights, because the light probably has good wiggle room too. So you phase out those two with those SKUs and drop the price of those, phase out the OLED, and then your $400 Switch 2 is your new lead platform.
I'd be curious if they would think about redesigning the Switch Lite and launching it at like 150. Try to hit that lower price target, even with the new Switches out. They did that with the 2DS. Remember that? The 2DS XL for the randomly. It's like, well, they had all those
Switch 2DS, 3DS. Yeah, and they had all those bundles and all that sort of stuff as well. Just clearing those out. Throw a little color skin on there, and this is the Zelda edition. This is the Metroid edition. Blah blah blah. So. It's smart, you got to remember, you got a different dude running Nintendo now who, you don't hear him talk. He doesn't come out and say things. He's obviously a lot more business minded than previous presidents were,
Also, Josie, think about it this way. What do you think they're going to do in 2028 with the Switch 2? What product do you think they're going to introduce?
The Switch 2 OLED?
Yes.
That's what we're looking for.
Get that OLED out of there now. We'll bring it back in a couple of years. We'll get it back here. It seems weird to do that, but I don't know. It wouldn't shock me if that was their move to reorganize the product, the product setup they have, and just change it up that way. So that 400 would work then. 400 still feels like it's too expensive to be like, okay, I'm definitely getting this for our 8-year-old son or daughter or whoever, but again, early adopters are going to be old people like us.
And, Christmas, there'll probably be places doing, get a game with it or something like that, retail bundles and stuff like that. So
even if I bought a kid a $400 Switch 2, that thing's not leaving the house. It's like that. That's the idea. It's supposed to be portable. It's like,
I bet they're going to come out with like a Switch 2 Lite or something to fill that market.
Yeah.
You don't trust your kids? That's kind of messed up.
Once you see what they do to the Switch.
Under 10 are actually horrific with electronics. It's just disgusting to see.
I walk out there, they're eating like a pancake with syrup all over it, and then the Switch is right next to them on the table.
Oh my god. My little cousin was like, let's play Mario Party, and she just like had just eaten and had like shit all over her hands. I almost threw up. It was so bad.
Where's the discipline here? Kids running the fuck
but then
out?
you go, you gotta clean your Switch. They have like stuff all over. Okay. They grab a wipe and just plop it on the Switch and just start wiping it.
So like, teach them how to do things. Don't just hide in the office all day and just put it on your poor wife to do it.
You giving parenting advice is the most insane thing.
Somebody needs to.
You'd be surprised how
intervention
little
over there.
And this is the only way his kids get this advice from Sean over here. So.
Yeah.
Really?
All his unknown children.
John's got a notepad on the side. He's taking down notes. All right, discipline children.
Yes.
Tell them to wash hands.
Absolutely. Shout out to the person with the next hat and the action figures in the back in the basement.
Those are collectibles. Those are, and Elliot says I'm right. Oh, pick your nose, says Wishbone. I clicked the wrong thing, but I pick your nose.
That's for you. What is it? The Direct, we'll see how that turns out in April. Any notable third parties you want to see there? Like just pop up on stage.
Well,
Epic.
Nate's,
Suda there. Remember last time with the he's all excited.
Nate's got me just thinking Delta's coming. Please do.
That would be good. That'd be good to see pop up. Although that means also it's not out yet. I assume it's not out yet by then.
I mean, do you think?
Man,
Do you
I
think
don't
it's
know. I was
coming up
hoping
then?
I was hoping it'd be out March or something, but it's just haven't really heard much about it.
I think there's going to be a whole bunch of it's going to be almost obnoxious how many third-party games are going to be there for this. Like
Just wheel up on stage. Yep.
Well, I mean, just even after all of that happens, like launch day, I think it's going to be obnoxious how many. What the hell is it? Got a ghost in your house? Or
I
something?
didn't mean. I've just moved my mic like really aggressively, and I didn't mean to do that.
What's wrong?
I don't know. I didn't mean
angry?
to do it. No, I'm not.
Do you need
angry.
someone to talk to?
No, I'm fine.
The chat
I
hasn't been
just-
too bad to you, by the way.
No, they're kind. They're chill.
Yeah, they've been good to you.
Just
Calm
excited
down.
tonight. The Switch 2 is here. It's got announced.
Exactly. I don't need to bully anybody tonight. No need.
Switch 2. Yeah. Third parties all over the place though. Sean's hoping
Oh.
for Delta.
Yeah.
That'd be
From
big,
Soft.
though. Metal Gear Solid Delta. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
FromSoft needs to show up in a big way, and I hope it's like a day and date launch for Elden Ring Definitive Edition with the DLC included, and then they should just announce Night Rain's coming too. You know, if it's not already out at that point.
Okay. Maybe MVG. Anyone you want to see pop up?
So Nate and I were talking about this a little bit on Nate the Hate, the segment that wasn't about the Switch 2 reveal, so no one probably was listening to this part. But we were throwing different game ideas out there. I think the one that I keep coming back to, John, is Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh,
And I'm saying that because The Witcher 3 obviously was on the Switch. That was a very well handled port, which Nintendo assisted CD Projekt Red with as well. So I think there's going to be that Skyrim moment again, where something is shown on screen that everyone's like, "Holy shit! I didn't think the system was capable of running something like that." Elden Ring, I mean, that could very easily be the game. I'm thinking Cyberpunk may be the one that is the impossible port game. I'll call it.
If you're right, MVG, if it's Cyberpunk, go ahead, Sean.
Well, I was gonna say, I don't know, because like it came out on the VCR too, you know?
Yeah, but I
It
mean,
was like mashed potatoes on screen. We talked about
absolute dog
That was
shit.
crazy.
It could kind of fit though, because this system is supposed to have DLSS, and every single time NVIDIA shows DLSS, it's always a Cyberpunk demo.
Isn't it? It
Yeah.
always is, right?
That's the other thing. Like they show every time it's DLSS, they always show Cyberpunk. So I'm
Look
like,
at these lights reflecting. It's like, oh,
I just mean from the standpoint of like the super big wow factor. Like I don't know if Cyberpunk would be that game because it came out on the VCR and the base PS4, even though it came out in a fucking obviously very broken state. I mean, they did fix it eventually. So I don't
What
know.
would be the
you
game
do
in
the
your
side by
opinion?
side, and it looks
outside
better
of,
than the
outside of
Xbox.
Delta, what would be the game that you would think would just be holy shit? Because we've seen Doom already
you know
on
what
the
it is, Sean.
Switch.
What?
You know what it at this point we're already talking about like the visual stuff because there's been so much cross gen. It's like, well, yeah, but that was on the PS4, original PS4. Xbox One, as you're saying, with Cyberpunk. I think you got to go to brands. So if we hadn't already had this leaked out, which I mean, people are pretty confident in Nate now, but if you were just going through that
If you
April
say
2nd
Rebirth?
direct, and Master Chief pops up on screen,
Oh yeah.
and it's
But
like,
that-
oh,
That's not the wow moment.
you don't
No.
think so?
No.
Okay, how about if
that game
Sony
looked old when it
moves
was
something
new.
over?
But like
Would
even
that be a
Rebirth
moment
is
like,
now like Rebirth. If you look at Rebirth, because Rebirth is a PS5 only game, you know, is the sizzle taken off of that because now that's Steam Deck verified?
What if it's like GTA 6, but just a really bad
Okay,
version?
that might do it. That might do
GTA
it.
6 would actually do it because I think there's a lot of people who don't think that game's coming, and so if it shows up there and just Rockstar
Huge.
logo confirmation would be wild. You know,
That would be big.
Indiana
I think so.
Jones, chat saying Indiana Jones.
We finally get that scale band we kept hearing
Indiana
about. That never happened.
Scalebound. Indiana Jones would be good at that. I mean, Indiana Jones is a good looking game.
that should come
that
over.
would-
Yeah.
That would
I
look
mean, why
good.
not?
COD, I see that. But I think GTA 6 would do some
I feel like
damage
that's
online.
the game. Like that's probably the biggest thing that they could get.
It's getting a Series S version, right? So I mean, you know,
there's possibility.
It is.
I'm not sure there. And to MVG's point, where you have like kind of the one individual wow moment, I'm not sure that we'll necessarily get that. I think it'll be more of a cumulative thing, where you just see, you know, a bunch of games that build up, and it's like, whoa, wow, I can't believe all of these, as opposed to just one big sort of, oh wow, holy shit sort of thing. Just because it's kind of a different era right now. You know what I'm saying? They're still making PS4 versions of big AAA games. Looking at you, WWE 2K25, you absolute pieces of shit. So you know, I think it's a little different, but you know, I could be completely wrong on it.
It's gonna be like people step back and go, look at all these third-party games that are just coming to the system. Like that's just cumulative. Look at the collage where they do the sizzle reel at the end, and it's everything. Okay, go ahead, MG.
I didn't really have anything to add. Someone threw out Silent Hill 2. That would be another one. I think that would be good. But I think. No. I think there's going to be some surprises as far as what third-party announcements we get.
I'm just throwing one in there. Forza.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I think that would be really interesting on the Switch too.
Forza would be kind of cool, actually. Like Horizon, like the open
Horizon,
world racing. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. Huh. Gears of War. You could see Gears of War. That's Microsoft's going everywhere. It seems like Microsoft is almost a lock to be at Nintendo's event. It feels like at this point, just based on what they've said and what Nate had mentioned. I mean, it's kind of like they could technically announce it afterwards, but it feels like a good stage for them to be on to show their commitment to bringing these games pretty much everywhere at this point. So
Game Pass will ever... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Silly.
Sorry, do you think Game Pass will make it to the Nintendo Switch too? So it could also be an Xbox? And
I feel like Nintendo is Nintendo's and Sony, I think, are very resistant to it because I still think they're concerned about what it could do to their platform we kind of see when it's on the Microsoft's platform where people on there are trained to not necessarily buy as many games, it feels like, right? We've seen that kind of in stats and stuff. And I almost feel like Nintendo and Sony, they have their own subscription service, kind of concerned about that potential.
Oh, it would totally sink everything. I was just curious.
Whereas they can just you can sell it. Hey, you want to bring Master Chief Collection over? All right, drop it here. You'll probably try to get full price for it. Whatever. That'll be that. If I get Master Chief Collection on a cartridge, though, I'll probably just give me Halo 1. I got to download the rest. That means Sean can actually play through the Halo campaign.
I'm not going to. I could do it right now, John. I actually have all of the Master Chief stuff downloaded because I realized I couldn't figure out how to delete things when I re-downloaded it so we could play it again. I got campaigns, I got games I'm not going to play on there, but I'm still not going to do it.
Okay. Well, I figured you could sit on the couch watching a Knicks game or something and play through the campaign one level at a time when you have.
He's got to focus. He has to focus on that Knicks game.
Yeah.
What if Sega shows up with their mega games? That'd be cool.
Definitely, they should.
Sega shows up. Yeah, it's gonna be a whole bunch of
retro stuff though.
No, I mean like the Crazy Taxi remake or the
Jet Set.
Yeah, the Jet Set game.
Oh yeah, I think those are 100% coming.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
But they're also a ways off though.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
What Shinobi's supposed to be the first one because that's
that game looks awesome though.
You big Shinobi
like that art
girl?
style. That art style is really pretty.
That could be after you finish Shenmue, you can play some Shinobi.
You're really on the Shenmue kick with her, aren't you? Are you still playing it, Josie?
I am. I'm still at I haven't really made
progress. What to do?
Still trying to find sailors.
Yeah.
Bar at night, across from the bikers. There's a little alleyway you can go down. You know the.
I already went there.
You went inside the bar?
Yes, I went inside the bar, and they were in there, and then they were like, "I have to go somewhere else now."
No, you're lying. You did not.
I'm not lying. I promise you, I went into that bar.
The bar down the stairs triggers a fight scene, and
yes, and I did the fight scene.
And then
they like send me loose, or the guy. Oh, I get kicked out of the bar. I got kicked out of the bar.
Mm-hmm. Not the first time.
For the first time ever, and then I don't know what to do now. I think that's my issue. I don't even know what I'm.
You've been looking at your book. The book will tell you things.
My
Your
book.
journal. Your journal.
Oh, I thought I was supposed to keep a physical book. That makes sense.
You can if you'd like to. You can.
I don't.
The strategy guide.
You want to be a weirdo or something? I don't.
Keep a Shenmue journal.
That'd be good.
I was
For the
playing
Dear
back through
diary.
Shenmue here and there as I had a chance, and I'm getting a job at the harbor now, so on the up and up.
Tell Mark I
Nice.
said hi.
All right, so we'll look towards that April 2nd. However, it looks like next month there's rumors of there being another direct. This one, well, there actually might be two next month, with one being pretty much geared around just the current Switch, and then the other one being a Pokemon Day direct that leaked out through a data mine with Pokemon Go. And that happens actually a lot with Pokemon Go. They just seem to throw this in there and people find it. So it's not the first time. But the idea of a direct for the current Switch would have been really funny to see being announced without any information about the Switch 2. That would have absolutely thrown some people off. So maybe it's a good thing that shows the Switch 2. So now when we see this pop up, it won't be as big of a deal. And everyone kind of look at it as, hey, these are games I can play on my Switch 2 as well, since it's fully backwards compatible. Mostly. Other than Labo. Want to return to Labo, it's tough on that one. But I guess with the Switch, like, what are they going to do to fill up? I'm going to say, I'll just say 20 minutes. 20 minutes for the current Switch. What do you fill up a direct with at this point?
It's probably just a Metroid Prime 4 direct. That's it. I don't know. I don't know what you could possibly put in a February direct that's only Switch 1. And I'm going to use that phrase now, Switch 1 focused.
Yeah.
Because it's like everyone knows what's coming. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just a
Didn't Nate talk
Metroid
about
thing.
that Kirby game?
Planet Robobot?
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it could be a very, very small 15-minute direct or something like that, or a mini or something. I don't know.
Maybe they just use it as a retrospective. Check all this cool stuff out.
Hear me out. If they do Kirby Planet Robobot, they shadow drop Metroid Prime 2 and 3 as a collection pack, physical game coming later.
Oh, that'd be sick.
They close the show with a Metroid Prime 4 launch date, but we get an updated trailer as well. And then somewhere sprinkled in there is a 2025 Wind Waker HD port. That seems like enough first party stuff, and then the rest is third party, and we have a 35-minute direct on our hands, maybe.
Sounds like you're willing a lot of things into the universe there.
Well, Wind Waker
Yeah.
stretch, to be fair, but I got solid hope for Prime 2 and 3. I think if you're releasing a game called Prime 4 and you don't have all 3 playable on your current hardware, it just doesn't make sense, So I really hope they come over with that.
Are we just making wish lists right
Fine.
now?
Go for it,
Because
Celia.
the 10 dogs,
Yeah.
new Banjo-Kazooie, fuck the new console. Release
Yeah,
the
where's
console
that at,
at
MVD?
one.
New Banjo Kazooie? What?
MVG's
Hello?
loud on
New?
Reddit again now.
Oh, God.
Let's see.
No,
What else
there's a
do I
time
want?
limit.
They're adding chat to this one. I don't know. I just feel like it's got to be just a focused video on a game that's coming out, or a shadow drop or something. It just doesn't make sense with announcing the new console and then taking a step back. But
Well,
yeah,
there's
the 10 dogs focused video. What?
Back to more important things. Josie, you're looking for Charlie now, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Oh.
actually, yes.
Oh, well, you gotta talk to the right people to find out where Charlie is. I could tell you where Charlie is, but I think you have to talk to someone first to trigger. I don't know. Maybe not.
Where's
Yeah.
Charlie? Because I thought he was at the arcade.
No, Charlie is at the
You know
He's
where
got
it is. Falls gonna ruin
tattoos
it.
and a leather
Spoilers.
jacket, and he's been
Spoilers.
talking
Wait,
to
he has-
the
wait, he has- what
jacket
does
guy.
he have?
he's
Josie, what's he
sleeping.
have?
He's sleeping
Tattoos.
in
Tattoos. Where do you get tattoos from?
The
He is-
tattoo parlor?
Yeah. All right. Cool. So now you just got to find the tattoo.
So he's
parlor.
sleeping in the tattoo parlor.
Yes.
in the back
Cringe.
room.
All the
Guys,
tapestries.
Why is that cringe? He's down on his luck. Why are you talking shit about what Charlie ever did to you?
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
he's about the yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's just a one quick time event.
Well,
The fighting in that game is so weird. I thought it was like a full action game, but it's like a cutscene, quick time vibe.
No, not all of it.
Just
Have you been
everything
training?
else. Yakuza?
Have you been-
Oh, sorry.
Have you been
oh,
training?
gosh.
No.
Go to the parking lot next to the arcade and train.
Okay.
Unless you want to get your fucking ass kicked.
You don't just
that
go to
on the
the
ride?
parking lot and do arcade or do karate in the middle of the day, Josie, like everyone else.
Not traditionally.
Well,
Just the
maybe
empty
you
parking
should.
lot.
Maybe you should.
I might get kidnapped.
I mean, that's the price.
Not if they see you doing karate.
Living in California, but it's a different story.
Josie, have you played the Yakuza series?
No.
Okay, you got to play that after Shenmue.
Okay.
All of them.
You should tell Sean to
No.
play with
Awesome.
her.
I played the Yakuza games on the PS2. I like them, but they're not Shenmue. I do think they're good.
Fair enough. But start with 0 if you're gonna play it.
Okay.
I love Yakuza series.
Yeah, or you could
Someday
go to
I'll play all these games when I'm retired and old.
You won't,
Have
because I'm
time.
not. Yeah.
Oh,
But
well,
you already
then-
played
You played
Shenmue.
Judgment. You played Lost Judgment.
Gears Judgment or Lost Judgment?
Lost
Both.
Judgment.
Sorry, bad joke. Yeah, I played Judgment. I never played the sequel though. I have a copy of it. I never bothered to play it.
Yeah.
I like Yakuza, but man, there is you have to invest a lot of time to go through
Yeah,
those
you do.
games.
Let's move over to. Oh, by the way, the Pokemon Direct is Pokemon Day, February 27th. I assume Pokemon Legends EA will be there. Any potential for them to announce a new generation for games?
I feel like they're going to. I was really excited for when you were talking about the Pokemon Direct because I'm like, wait,
Okay,
this
go
is
ahead.
this is my zone. Yeah, so I agree, Z. I'm hoping that they'll announce Z for current Switch and for Switch 2. It just makes sense. I hope it works on both of them. I'm not hopeful for the original Switch. I'm really hopeful for the Switch 2 that they'll have a lot of they won't have as many rendering issues. I imagine we'll get a teaser of some sort for a next gen for us to be excited for like next year or whatever for them to have it. Because I think we got something similar on when they announced Scarlet and Violet. They were like, oh, here's Pokemon Arceus, and also here is a teaser for Scarlet. So it would make sense with the patterns of how they announce next gen Pokemon games. I feel like we'll also probably get a TCG announcement. Hopefully they'll make trading better. I know that there was an announcement recently, or a leak of an announcement, I'm not sure, where they were going to trade only 1-star cards and that's it. So hopefully maybe on Pokemon Day they'll expand that, because that really sucks for trading. They could also announce like a DLC event or something for Violet and Scarlet, or some type of team battling thing just to keep that going until we get the next mainline game. Yeah, whatever else they're cooking. Maybe something for Pokemon Sleep, something for Pokemon Masters EX, and I don't know, Alarmo sound. That would be cool. So they don't drop that. Anyways, okay, that's my Pokemon thing. I'm really excited.
Well, I assume all the people who are frustrated at the Switch 2 just being a better Switch bought Alarmo. It's Nintendo being weird
Super
and
creative.
and whimsical.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I assume that was a thing. A lot of people out there have it. That's what I'd like to see, if they start throwing around the Switch 2 logo and then they talk about next generation Pokemon, because like we talk about Mario Kart, the other thing is going to sell the next system, obviously Pokemon. So that'll be what I'm more interested in. They start talking about like Pokemon Shine, which is what, brushing your teeth and stuff, and sleep. I'm like, all right, cafe. All right.
Oh, yeah,
Do we
fine.
think they're going to talk about ZA?
For sure.
I assume they have to date that.
We'll get gameplay and like maybe a date if we're lucky.
Yeah. So I feel like that's got to be coming this year, right?
But I do want to say, I was hopeful ZA would get like a cross-gen release. That's what I want to see happen. But if you looked into that Terra leak or whatever they're calling it, where all that information got dumped, they do have a working build of the next generation for both Switch 1 and Switch 2, according to the codename Ounce. But ZA only had a Switch 1 version. And I think it was Jeff Grubb that was talking about that according to what he heard, that this Pokemon Presents is going to be entirely Switch 1 focused. Like they won't even be like mentioning Switch 2. Now, who's the source on it? I don't know. But if it does check out, I'm like gearing my expectations for ZA being the big thing. And then if we get like a teaser trailer announcement for Gen 10, then that would be awesome and put it over the top. But I hope they do another remake series, because it's been a while for that too, So maybe I would love to see like Let's Go games, but in, Johto, let's do, gold and silver, but for the Let's Go editions would be really
I
cool.
would love that too, but not Let's Go. And
Right.
just regular.
No, I agree. They need. Well, I would be okay with like like I liked shiny hunting in Let's Go, but they need more depth of everything else as far as the mechanics goes. But if they had some kind of mix of like an evolution of Let's Go, I'd be okay with it. But whatever we got to do to get back to gold and silver is what I'm really trying to say. Like, 'cause that's what I want. That's what I want on Switch.
It was so good. No, and I agree with you. I just really hated the one controller mechanic for
that was weird.
Go. That was stupid. I was so mad at it. I was like, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, in a few weeks, we should have, I guess, a February Direct, and then a few weeks after that, Pokemon Direct. So, well, at least some stuff to look forward to as people are waiting around for the April 2nd Switch 2 Direct. Okay, let me go over here to Sony, because there were some questions in the mailbag about this as well. With what happened here, Jason Schreier did report that 2 games at Sony have been canceled. One was with Ben Studio, the other one's with Bluepoint. Now, Bluepoint's was at least described to us as a live service God of War game. Ben Studio also had a live service game. Both of these canceled, which if you look up and down, people started making a list, and it looks really bad when you put it in list form of what's happened here with Sony over the last couple of years with their live service games, because they had 12 of them that they mentioned were in development. We know of a majority of them, and unfortunately, a majority of them have been canceled. So Ben Studios canceled, Bluepoint's canceled, Bungie, as they had one called Paybacks canceled, Twisted Metal was canceled. We know what happened with Concord, even Firewalk being shut down. Insomniac had that Spider-Man live service Great Web multiplayer game that was canceled. We know London Studio had one that was canceled, and obviously the Last of Us Factions Online. So it has not gone well for Sony with the live service stuff. And we had a few people, as I mentioned, over on the Spawncast network with Bloody Soma saying, any chance that Ben Studio get to work on a Days Gone sequel now that their live service game is shut down? Ben Studio with Days Gone 2 originally, they apparently stopped it from, they want to do something else. And I guess they wanted to do this live service game that some of the art assets got out there, and it looked kind of like it was going to be it was a military shooter, it looked like. So like a SOCOM mixed Division. Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it, is the Division. And apparently it didn't pass some kind of check, and that's why it's canceled. I don't know why they would then go back to Days Gone if they already internally voted it down, basically. I assume, because, okay, so these studios are not shut down as of now. Sony at least has sent a spokesperson and said, we're going to figure out something else for them. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to find them a new game to do. It could actually be, you guys are going to run support for this game, because they did that with Bluepoint. Bluepoint ran support for God of War Ragnarok for 2 years after Demon Souls, which is an interesting decision, I'll say, for that one. Although Sony does have cross development all the time where they'll help out with games to get them out the door. God of War Ragnarok, big game, sold a lot of copies, was clear that it was going to. So yes, let's move people over to get it done. I gotta say, MVG, you seem confused like I did when we got this information, because what in the world is Bluepoint doing with a live service game?
I don't know, man. Like, I think Sony took a gamble, and obviously it has not paid dividends for them. So, yeah, I mean, using Bluepoint in that way to just kind of focus on live service type stuff, man. Jim Ryan, Herman Hulse, whoever made these decisions, I'm assuming it was Jim Ryan that basically greenlit all this stuff. I was going to say deserves to be fired. I mean, he's already gone, so they have to now figure out how to move forward from here. And I don't know, John. Like, I was very, very surprised and a little bit bummed out about what Bluepoint was doing, honestly, because I thought we all kind of felt like they're working on Bloodborne remake, or Legends of Dragoon was another game that I'd heard been thrown around that they're working on. Also heard some stuff about maybe they were working on a Metal Gear Solid remake, like not 3, just kind of the original one or something like that. So we kind of felt like, the port studio that is the best in class, or one of the best in class, should be working on stuff in their wheelhouse, but ultimately that's not what happened. Disappointing. I don't know what happens to Bluepoint and Ben from here, but I think the inevitable thing, as much as I hate to say it, is heads are going to roll, and usually it starts at the bottom rather than from the top. So we'll see what happens. Very unfortunate.
You're referencing layoffs most likely in some degree. Yeah.
Yes, I am.
They have to reorganize if they get a new project or whatever it is to be ready for that instead. So if they're making a live service game, you're right, MG, and they have a bunch of people on board whose job is to figure out battle pass and monetization, and now they're not doing a live service game, then yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how it goes there. Sean, you've been critical of Herman Holst. Even though this, as MG mentions, this may have been more of Jim Ryan thing, but still, he is there. He's at the top.
Who signed off on Concord? Who thought Concord was the greatest thing ever? Herman Holst.
He hasn't helped this case recently. You're right.
No, he hasn't. What's your question? Because I gotta go. The next game starts at 7:30, sir.
Okay.
What's your question? I'll answer it.
What do you think? What do you think about the strategy here when it comes to their live service stuff, just as a whole now, since we keep hearing about more cancellations than releases?
I know you want me to talk about her, don't you? The queen, the hustle queen.
Oh,
the greatest scam artist of the past decade. who keeps getting them big ass checks, and then we're not doing this anymore. I'll see y'all later. Jade Raymond. Shout out to Jade Raymond. She's the best. No, I think it was a dumb strategy. It's like a clout chasing strategy. Everyone wants to be the next Fortnite, the next Marvel Rivals, and yes, there are games that break the mold. But for like I always say, for all of those few success stories, there's so many failures, and it's like that's not what brought you to the ball game. That's not what people bought a PS5 for. Most of them bought it for things like the single player Sony games, or single player games that maybe have a multiplayer component to it. And canceling things like Factions 2, but greenlighting Concord shows there's a disconnect going on there between, I think, the consumer and the higher ups at the company right now. And you could get into the whole yes men debate and conversation that toxic positivity and how that led to Concord's issues, how that could be potentially leading to some of these games getting gassed up to a point of where it's going to be such a big success, and then half of them don't make it out the door, and the ones that do get shut down in 2 weeks. I mean, Helldivers, of course, an exception to the rule, that did very well. But are you willing to have one Helldivers and 10 dead games behind you that failed?
The thing is, and I'll be quick, I know you have to leave. The thing is, you mentioned yes men, right? But eventually these decisions get approved at the highest level, right? Someone has to say, Concord, that's the game.
And it was Herman Holst. Herman Holst went out of his way to buy that studio because he loved and believed in that game so much. And that's kind of where the disconnect comes in. Why isn't there someone with Herman Holst that says, hey, you know what? That's not a great idea. And the fact that it doesn't seem like there is someone to kind of give feedback on things like that. Like, I understand if you're, a sole proprietor or something like that, indie company, that's a different story. But when you are a massive company responsible for one of the biggest video game enterprises that there is, you need to have people who maybe question things.
That was what Shuhei was doing before he went to indies. I mean, he was the enforcer at Sony. He was the one that went around to see all the games and say, that game's terrible, fix it. Or remember the God of War thing? Remember how he went to see it halfway through its development and he's like, I'm not happy with this. And I think, the old guard at Sony, most of them are all gone. They've either retired or they've left the company. But yeah, it's
okay. We didn't have these issues with Sean Layden until y'all dragged him out of the fucking building, kicking and screaming.
Well,
all right, I gotta go. I'll see y'all later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See you, Sean.
Oh wait, I almost hit end stream. Not
That would have
yet.
been crazy.
Sorry. All right, bye.
what?
No, we're good. We're good. I almost hit it.
Good. Sunbro, you have any thoughts on the Sony cancellation?
Yeah, you know what? Seeing the list of games here, it really just sticks out to me. Like, man, how many more quality first-party games would we have for the PS5 if Sony wasn't chasing this live service strategy right now? Like, how far in would Bluepoint be on a Bloodborne remaster or something else that fans really want to play, but they're tied up with live service God of War, you know? And yeah, just seeing the amount of it does seem like in the company culture at Sony, like their focus became this chase the live service strategy and chase the big bucks from the successful games that pulled it off, and they're paying the price for it now. So, I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate because while I am enjoying this generation, it's very clear that not only are development times just way longer and the budgets are bigger than they've ever been, and hence sometimes we skip generations without new installments of massive series, or we wait almost an entire generation just to get one. But then you have like all your workforce chasing down other stuff that a lot of it ends up getting canceled. It's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate that they went that far down that path with this many games, and not only is it costing them money and layoffs and jobs, but it's also affecting, you know, their release schedule at the end of the day and the games they can deliver.
Yeah, I saw Joe McKenna here asked, of the original 10 live service games planned by Sony years ago, how many do you think are actually still in development? Well, they mentioned 12 originally, and I think they've also added some in. So I feel like there's more than even that now, but some have been canceled, and Sony's not going to, I don't think, stop trying this live service thing. They might be pulling back a little bit and not try to do 10 or 12 at a time or just planning them out. But I think they're going to keep attempting this because they feel like that if they do get it right, like a Helldivers 2, it ends up being worth it in the long run. But my issue with this, and I mentioned this to you, MVG, the money aspect is one thing, because we heard about Concord, just $200, $300, $400 million, whatever. It's, these companies can figure out ways and loopholes and tax stuff to where they can write it down, and technically it doesn't actually cost them as much as what they say on paper. So if it's $200 million, they write it down, they get a portion of that as like an exemption or written off, whatever it is, right? So they could figure that out. But the thing that I think is the most consequential, especially now, it's the lost time. It's that's the thing that gets me.
Lost time and lost resources. People leave companies. Like if the people that, I mean, I can't speak for Bluepoint, but I will speak for Bluepoint, and that, you know, the developers that were asked to jump on a live service game, when you work at Bluepoint, I mean, I think developers that take jobs at Bluepoint know exactly what the reason why they're going to work at Bluepoint, because they're a great port studio. They do really, really great remakes, right? Remasters. You know, it's like going to like Night Dive or something, you know, or Nix's. Like you go there for a specific role, and that role is to recreate games, you know, old games, right? So I think a lot of people that probably ended up going to Bluepoint after the acquisition, thinking they were going to work on some cool shit, and then getting lumped into a live service God of War game or whatever it was, people end up just getting frustrated and saying, fuck it, I'm going to leave and find another job somewhere else where I can actually work on stuff, really cool stuff that I want to work on, not live service games. And again, I can't speak for the, you know, who's currently at Bluepoint right now, but I would think that there has been some type of attrition, some type of turnover that's happened at that company. People have left looking at other opportunities, right? So when you actually start to lose, you know, the core talent of people, creative talent of that company, kind of the DNA or the nucleus of a company like a Bluepoint, it's just a name at that point. It's like Rare is, you know, in 2025, right? It's just Sea of Thieves. It's not an Everwild, whatever the hell Everwild is. It's not Banjo. It's not any of those, the old kind of, you know, classic games that they made back in the day. So I think that's the real scary part. You know, even though these companies, they still exist, Bluepoint is a name. Where's the talent? You know, have they already left the company? And if they have, then that's very, very dangerous, you know, for Sony.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate part. The thing with Bluepoint is they're not even like a big, they're not hundreds and hundreds of developers. I think it's 70 or 80, something like that. I can't imagine they're working on something alongside of this. Like they did God of War work, God of War live service, and nothing else in front. That was it.
They should never have been acquired, in my opinion. I think that was the beginning of the end for them, because they worked on a lot of Sony stuff, but they also did like Titanfall on the 360. They did other port work, and all the stuff that they've done was exceptional. Their quality was amazing. Like they do really good work, and I get why Sony bought them, because they're a very, very talented studio. But now Sony's basically just gutted them. Like they've just completely changed, what that studio is known for. So hopefully, they already have a course correction action in place to get them back doing the things they're supposed to be doing. But man, who knows? Like, who knows? I mean, we kind of just assume that everything is cool with these studios, like, studios like Housemarque, Bend, Bluepoint, because we haven't heard anything from them pretty much since they were acquired by Sony, right? So we're just assuming they're heads down working on the next, big budget game, first party single player game type of thing. But when you find out everyone's working on live service stuff, that's very, very alarming to hear, So I do worry about companies like Bend and Bluepoint at this point. I don't know what's going to happen. And unfortunately, it's going to take probably another Jason Schreier article to learn more about, what's going on over there. But it's pretty sad.
Yeah, I saw the thing I think that people are really confused about, like head scratching, seeing this stuff, is a lot of the gamers feel like they can make better decisions than some of the executives at Sony right now, because I don't know anyone who would have seen Bluepoint. They're doing additional work with God of War, which actually I think that makes sense for them, because as you mentioned, MVG, they were doing ports, remakes, remasters, that kind of thing. They didn't really do any original work, right? So it's almost like, hey, you guys have spent a lot of time doing this, but we're going to bring you over here and we're going to kind of have you work with Sony Santa Monica, who's like, top of the class. You're going to work with them to create Ragnarok, learn from the bit, then you'll go off and do your own game. Instead, it's like, oh, cool, we're going to make God of War live service now. It's odd to have Bluepoint go do that when they haven't made even just an original single player, one that has it's bit, I don't say smaller in scope, but more controlled, because there's not an ongoing roadmap and having to line up this with monetization. And it's odd to try to jump ahead and make that when they haven't done like some of the more basic original kind of projects.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that's confusing to me. And I think it's confusing a lot of people, because it's like, I don't understand. I don't really know how Jim Ryan, this had to have been a Jim Ryan decision, because years ago they mentioned, I don't really know how he put A and B together and was like, yes, this is how it's going to happen. It's very weird.
I will also say this, right? Bluepoint may have raised their hand and said, we are more than capable of doing this. We want to do this. So I'm being very unfair because again, we only know one side of the story, and it makes it seem like Sony, the big bad giant corporate entity, dictated to Bluepoint that they were the ones that have to work on this live service stuff, right?
Right.
But we don't know if Bluepoint pitched the idea of a live service God of War game or something like that, right? And and upper management said, yeah, that sounds really cool. Go ahead. We're going to give you $200 million. Have at it.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? So I want to be very clear that, we can only kind of speculate on what we've heard, but there's always another side to the story. And of course, the development shop, they can't say anything. They're under NDA, so they can't really talk about it publicly. But either way, it sucks. It sucks. Obviously, there's a disconnect, that's happened here.
That's a fair point.
Of all the franchises too, why God of War for their live service venture? Like it just seems like an interesting pick to me. Like, what direction they're going to go? Ascension multiplayer style at a bigger scale.
That's what I figured.
Okay,
Ascension. Yeah, that's what popped into my head. I'm like, that's
what
they were going to do. But the issue here now, I said it almost jokingly to MVG, is, hey, next project for Bluepoint Bend, might as well start making a PS6 game.
Do you guys think that the Last of Us live service game could have been successful?
That's the crazy thing, Josie. So from what my understanding is, the Last of Us game, this is still like stuff that's been like mentioned here and there, thrown around, rumor mill behind the scenes. To my understanding, the game itself for Last of Us Online is good, the monetization didn't line up well.
Oh,
And then the idea of having to support it going forward wasn't a great idea for Naughty Dog. So they made a good game with online elements, but it wasn't going to make sense. It would have been that situation. The game would have come out, and because the way Naughty Dog works on the stuff with the polish and levels that they have for their games, it would have been like, okay, where's the new content? And we'd be 6 months, 7 months beyond its release, and there still wouldn't be much because it'd be like, okay, we're trying to make this to a certain. It didn't. Naughty Dog's philosophy, to my understanding, doesn't line up with the multiplayer of let's get content out quickly. Let's rapid fire sort of this stuff so that we keep up with season 1, season 2, season 3.
Just jumping in real quick, because I did not pay attention to The Last of Us Online anything. What would have the monetization looked like? Would it be that you just buy loot boxes and you have to survive better? Like
probably like a battle pass.
A battle pass? Okay.
Probably
In my head, it's like
a different rugged shirt.
Golf clubs.
Yeah.
Nice sweet 6-iron.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. It's like, darn, you don't get food because you're poor in real life and can't buy the loot boxes. I was imagining that, like, sucks to suck peasants. But okay, that makes more sense.
Usually they're just cosmetic, unless they were going really crazy. But that would have pissed people off.
Oh yeah, 110%. But I'm curious what that would have looked like.
That's a shame. I would have been curious just to see what it would have played like and the experience for it, but nope, not at all. So yeah, we'll see what Bluepoint can come up with next generation. That's my feeling. I think next generation, get a launch title ready to go now for PS6. Hey, they launched with the PS5 though with Demon's Souls. It's just 8 years later they'll be there again. Hopefully. They say they're not shutting them down, but I don't know. When I see stories like these, I get worried, I'll admit.
I hope they're not shutting them down, but we'll see.
I'm pulling for them. Let me go to, again, we had mailbag questions, and we'll go through some of the super chats here. Let me go over to the mailbag stuff. This is, okay, DC Fat Cat says, who else is looking forward to Rusty's Real Deal Croquet? Hey, that's a Switch 2 title I've ever heard one right there. That'd be up Nintendo's stage right there. This is from Varang, who says, will old Nintendo come out and say you can't stream Switch 2 games without permission?
Let's hope we never go back to those days. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think there's social media accounts. Like they're benefiting wildly from the floodgates being open for content creators to talk about them. It would be ridiculous to go back.
Alex Stan says, anyone else feel like the Switch 2 should have been the Switch Pro? That's how I feel about it. Just an upgrade to the Switch, not a new entry in the main line of consoles.
I think it's very easy to say that based on the reveal we've seen, the teaser, but we need to look at the hardware and the specs and everything and just exactly how powerful this thing is. So then we'll know more.
And the write-up did say that some backwards compatible games wouldn't even work anymore. They did say there were some that weren't going to work. So they do need that split.
Yep.
Well,
I assume Labo.
That's a catch-all for like Labo, Ring Fit.
Yeah,
I mean, one weirdo game that they have that didn't release in the States.
You're right. It's going to be all those games, but I remember when the PS5 came out, there was a handful of PS4 titles that didn't look like Mel's Diner. I have that game. And I was
Assassin's Creed Syndicate was messed up for the longest time. Yep, you're right. There could be some weird examples, and when it comes out, I'm sure MVG will find them. So there'll be a whole video, I'm sure, on that.
Hell yeah.
Demar says, do you think that Star Fox Adventures could see a remake for the Switch 2, or will Nintendo just put it onto NSO when the GameCube will get added? Hoping for a remake, says Demar.
I want Dinosaur Planet.
Hey, you get the fur physics in there.
I would love to see something like that. I don't think it'll happen, but now that we're kind of out of the linear 3D Zelda games, I think, pick Star Fox or another, Nintendo IP and make a linear style progression 3D Zelda game, but just throw a different character into it, since Zelda team wants to go open air and that being their only development focus. I think there's a spot for it.
Okay. Kind of change, shake up a franchise.
That's why I mentioned Dinosaur Planet. That's what Star Fox Adventures was on the GameCube. We never got that game. There was a leak of like some of the level or something like that for N64, but we didn't get the full thing. Anyways, proceed.
Medallion says, what would you say or feel if the Mario Kart series took a page out of Forza Horizon in some way, like driving, racing across a huge map that can also be explored or have sightseeing? The idea of an open world racer is a bit intimidating, but I would be intrigued, says Medallion. Open world Mario Kart.
What's the age demographic of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, like the percentage breakdowns?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
It's such a general audience
dictate
game.
it. Yeah.
Like if they did kind of like Diddy Kong Racing, where it's not huge open world, but like an adventure kind of racing game, that'd be cool. It's kind of walled off a bit, but that'd be kind of a neat idea.
They just need to offer it as a mode. Like, don't build the whole game around it, but have it as a single player mode, and you're golden. I feel like.
I agree.
Yeah. That'd feel pretty substantial then. Like if there's a full single player adventure style game, that'd be kind of cool. Especially if you go through and you unlock new racers and everything. That'd be fun.
New costumes too. When we were talking, I mean, I know it's not really in that first look thing at the Nintendo Switch 2, but people were pointing out that Princess Peach is in straight up her dress on a bike, which has never happened before because she always like gets like the bodysuit, you know, for the bike. So a lot of people think you're gonna have like unlockable costumes for each character that you can go through, and yeah, stuff like that would be super cool to unlock in a story mode.
Well, and they sort of did that with like Home Circuit, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit for some reason. Like you had weird cosmetics like that, so it would track, I think.
Andrew says, while it will be obvious that Nintendo is using the optical sensor for a mouse, what are your thoughts on it having other uses, perhaps in line with health or reading your pulse while playing games? Will Nintendo finally bring the vitality sensor back from the dead? Like you have to hold your finger up to the optical sensor and it can read your heart. That'd be weird. I don't know. There would be something weird about that when they're like Nintendo do something strange, not just the mouse. Although they heavily implied the mouse usage in the trailer. So I'll stick to that for now, and that they'll just sell us something new to take our pulse and blood type and all the other personal information that we have to then log in and send to the server.
I have a question about this mouse stuff, right? Because I think a lot of people don't realize that the Switch supports a mouse and keyboard.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can connect the mouse and keyboard to a Switch. In fact, one of the games I worked on, Quake, has mouse and keyboard support on all the platforms.
People should buy that. That's a good game.
It is. But what I was going to ask is why this mouse gimmick on the Joy-Cons? Why don't they just have a official mouse and keyboard bundle that they would just sell to us?
I think they might. Like it could just come after the fact, and
they did it with the SNES. They did it with the SNES, and then N64 has a mouse, an official mouse. I think it was only in Japan though. It came out.
Would this be the situation, MVG, where it's a default thing, so developers know that everyone has it? Then, like, it's not that sense of do they have that peripheral or not? No, it's there. It's the Joy-Con.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If everyone has it, that means it's available to everyone, which means you can access it rather than connecting a mouse and keyboard. But then you guys were talking about a Switch 2 Lite and stuff like that. So what would that look like?
You're right.
But
You wouldn't have it then.
But
what's interesting is they showed it with both Joy-Cons. Are we having dual mouse support for something?
No, I've with the original PlayStation has a mouse as well, and there are some games like I think it was Alien Resurrection or something like that, where you could actually use a mouse with your right hand, and you could actually use like your controller on the D-pad.
Interesting.
Or the analog stick on with your left, basically just kind of simulating a mouse and WASD type movement, and it actually worked. It feels very natural. So I think that's what they're looking to go with. But I just find it interesting that if this is a mouse, which it seems like it is, especially with the way that they teased, the way that the Joy-Con looked with the tail on the back of it and everything like that. What is the emphasis of this? I feel like something like Mario Paint, I mean, sure, but there's something else. I feel like there's more to this than maybe we haven't seen.
If it is
just lets you click stuff in the eShop.
That would be amazing.
That actually be cool.
Be good with that.
Navigation, if it's just for navigation purposes, I'm fine with that.
Cursor on the screen, you just move it around. Yeah.
Also, both being a mouse is pretty solid for people who are left-handed more so than right-handed.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true too. Good point. Were you saying something, Celia?
Oh, FPS games. Just throwing it out
yeah.
there.
First
Like,
years,
if
Yeah.
they're leaning into new third-party support.
You know, there's a wacky 1-2 switch type game that's coming with some built around mouse support too. Like,
and a Mario Party, 100%.
Yep, there you go, Mario Party, perfect.
Yep. This is from David, who says, do you think that the leaks were facilitated by Nintendo to get diehards who checked out the leaks introduced to the fact that there's really no and to the Switch 2? It's just a better Switch, because now the narrative is that the leaks ruined the reveal, when I feel if Nintendo was the one to pull back the curtain on the reveal with 0 leaks, we would have not been interested. So did Nintendo marketing put on a big dog and pony show for us? I like the conspiracy theory there. I like it.
You caught them. They totally did that. They also pretended to, investigate all these
I feel
people
I feel like Nintendo is probably annoyed at what took place with all that stuff. Yes. I don't think this was them. I think they're on the move right now trying to figure out who it was. So Zoop says, why does everyone scramble to report on Nate's rumors? He's reported on many plans and rarely knows when those plans change. Merely greenlighting those projects can turn studios and number 2, merely greenlighting those projects can turn studios like Bluepoint and Bend into husks. Are they even capable of picking up where they left off? Well, I think Bend and Bluepoint will probably at this point right now just try to figure out what's next, and Sony will work with them on that, and we'll see what they come up with. Could just be a support work. But why does everyone scramble to report on Nate's rumors? Because usually he's right. That's why, usually. But you're right, things do change at times. But he said Switch 2 Thursday with his full chest, and there you go. He was right. So if Master Chief Collection pops up for Switch 2, there's another one. If Rebirth pops up and Remake, there's another one.
Delta, we got
Delta.
Plenty of exciting stuff.
Another one. Yeah. So keep an eye out for that, because Nate, like I said, Nate was saying a lot of stuff with the full chest. So it should be a fun year. Those are all the mailbag questions. Let me go down the super chats here. Minato Mario says, here's $1 million question. If Switch 2 fail, will it fail? But I don't surprise. Some will think if Switch 2 doesn't sell like the Switch, then it's a flop. The Switch 2, just based on interest alone right now, is going to be successful unless Nintendo shows up with like a $700 price point.
Yep. Yeah. They'll probably crank out that 20 million, like what Bloomberg or whoever reported. And it's probably like, that's still not going to be close to enough. Like, we'll still have a scalping situation on our hands with this console.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Steven says, current PS5 owner here. Sony's direction is a joke with PS5 Pro and subscription increases with nothing to show for it. Ball's in Nintendo's court. Nintendo gets a lot of third-party support here to start off the Switch 2 and it works, then that'd be an interesting industry to see if Nintendo just by default gets a lot of the third-party stuff too. I'd be curious to see what that looks like. Trom says PS5 Gen is cooked. What an embarrassment. Well, we got to see what they have for the rest of this year. I think there's going to be a state of play in February, so we'll see. We'll see what they have to announce. Paco says, at RGT left, so much for Deep Fear recommendation. As this is from
it's quality game.
Says, yeah, as a PlayStation fanboy, I think I'm ready to admit this generation has been brutal. Lots of bad with very little good sprinkling. You know what's interesting about this generation for Sony? They show the numbers. They say that they're making the most money they ever have. Man, this is like the lowest I've seen for sentiment for PlayStation in a long time. Even the PS3, there were people who were like, yeah, but the hardware is interesting. They're making games that are kind of weird and wacky and cool. I don't know. Right now, the PS5 it's not doing it for a lot of people right now, but get a lot of money. So
I have a side question. Do you feel like some of the negative sentiment towards the Switch 2's design is also drawing from the fact of we're so bored with PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X's lack of, I guess, having some type of gimmick or like something new innovation with things? I don't know. Because like the Switch 2, though there's going to be new things with it and, it'll be stronger and that's what we're asking for. And on a business side of things, it does make sense to build upon the original Switch. Maybe we're just hoping in our littlest of hearts that it'd be something wacky and weird to make us excited again.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I think with Nintendo right now, they are, I don't say very conservative about this new generation, but there's not a there's not a 3DS or some handheld to fall back on. I guess that's it. You got to make sure you get it right.
It's also a test for them as well to smoothly transition everyone to next generation, to Switch 2.
Yeah.
They've had stumbles in the past when they've obviously moved generations. So I think this is really, a big test for them to see how this goes. It's gonna go great. They'll be fine. It's gonna sell a ton of units, but it's not always been smooth for them.
I remember.
Steven says Mario Kart 9 will feel next gen when people see it in action. More racers on screen, bigger scale. $3.99 is the sweet spot for Matt's success. Steven says Vroom in the Night Sky 2 Switch 2 launch game. Thank you. Gosh, that game. Paco says RDT must play. It's called Deep Fear. There it is. Sega's answer to not getting RE2 on Saturn, a forgotten game.
Paco, I don't speak for Sean, but he knows about Deep Fear. In fact, I think he's done a video on it at some point on his channel.
Okay. Interesting. Deep Fear. Never heard of that game. ACOG says, I wonder how badly those cancellations are going to mess up Sony's release schedule for this generation. Lots of resources that could have been used on other stuff gone. Again, it's time. Time, I think, is the biggest thing. So it's going to hurt down the road for sure. Ryucat says, Sean, I'm only buying the Switch 2 for one game, WWE 2K18. That game better run like butter on pancakes. And you're going with Wood and Wolf Den and Nintendo New York for Switch Experience show. I'd be shocked if Sean might get there. He's not that far away from New York. He can actually do that. I'm going to try. We'll see. Steven says, how do y'all think the Switch 2 will get party chat? I think that's what we mentioned, the C button kind of tied to that. But that's next gen for Nintendo. It'll be big. Sean says, what are the chances of official keyboard support on Switch 2 for PC ports? That's what MVG said. We have keyboard support right now, right?
I'll buy it if they have one.
DVD Night says, great to see Sunbro on the show.
Happy to be here.
Sunbro. Sub Pop says, what are your thoughts on a pack-in title?
Nope.
That'd be awesome.
You're gonna pay that full 70 for Kart.
Oh, a Mario Paint though.
Yeah, that'd be so rad.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool actually if they did that.
I feel like the era of pack-in titles are done for Nintendo, but I would love to see a Mario Paint too, just thrown in the box.
That'd be fun because it would help show off the mouse functionality and
you
stuff.
can even make it a free digital download. They give you a download code.
Don't kill
that
me.
would suck, but yeah.
Just build it like Astrobot's built
Yeah.
into Astro Playroom is built in every PS5. Just build it in. Kind of cool.
Picarto or something.
I hope we see in it too are like it's a little thing, little aside, little Easter eggs in the OS. Things that like sound effects here and there, little things you just accidentally come across or find that they hide. That'd be kind of fun.
Why would they pack in a game when they can sell at least 4 million, 5 million of these?
that's
the question.
That's the conundrum. Alvin says the big fighting games like Tekken and Street Fighter have to be a lock, right? Will they also have crossplay as those games currently do? I assume Tekken and Street Fighter, I mean, they're PS4 games as well, right? So yeah, I would assume those would probably show up.
Street Fighter 6 is Xbox as well, right? I mean, I would expect that would,
I think so,
come across.
Yep. Juice Man Vaughn says if Monster Hunter Wilds makes it on Switch 2 in a decent state, I kind of still feel like Capcom likes the idea of having two separate Monster Hunter release lines, and I kind of think they're going to make one specifically for the Switch 2. Lucio says Cyberpunk 2077 is the only game that can be pushed and it's well optimized, show off some of the RTX and DLSS capabilities. The big games are mostly unoptimized and look bad even on PS5 like Rebirth. Jason says, do we think Switch 2 will be a profit console from day one based on the tech that's assumed inside or a loss like Steam Deck? Nintendo likes to make money on their systems day one, which is one of the reasons that 450 keeps it's like sitting on my shoulder, like tapping me, like 450, they make money. Rufflemutt says, I can see Final Fantasy 14 coming to Switch 2, mouse used.
Yeah, good point.
That's a great example, actually, of that. Yeah.
Bring it on.
Oh, Sub Pop says, Switch 2 Pro better be announced soon. Shake says, hey, get those Switch 2 Pro rumors going. prime time for that. Sean
Makes
G
sense,
says,
yeah.
I'm surprised the handhelds are focused on OLEDs. Mini LEDs, in my opinion, will be better choice, cheaper and better for brighter lighting. I assume just OLED panels in general that were used were made much more in mass, and that's why they're able to get probably a better price on it. But in the future, could see mini LEDs. Steve says, what do you think about the Switch 2 not upgrading to an OLED screen? I think they will
Cost
give you an OLED
efficiency.
screen in 3 years when they can sell it to you again. I think it's going to happen. Alex Stan gifted 10 Spawn Wave memberships. If you got a membership from Alex Stan or Jeffrey Lofton, give him a shout out in the comments. Shout out to Jeffrey and Alex Stan. Sub Pop says MK8 to MK Tour to MK World. Big honor gun courses. Yeah, I mean, is it Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart 10? Is that what's about to happen? Because I thought 9 was Tour.
That's what I was told.
Dave says Mario March should have a battle royale mode. Could be. Lucio says Nintendo needs to show Cyberpunk 2077 running on Switch 2 to prove its capabilities. From there, anything is possible. Wow, people really want Cyberpunk on here, Amici. Jeez.
It kind of just makes sense. It just fits. Fits for me.
Yeah.
I will say I don't particularly care for Cyberpunk. I've played it a few times. I can't get into that game at all. But I think it's a big get for Nintendo.
It's a good looking game and it's in motion and things are clicking. So
It's that big moment in the trailer where he just pulls the Joy-Cons off and puts one down as a mouse and starts playing.
Yeah.
That'd be the connection. That'd be the moment.
Spyro Jones says I'm just upset that Double Dash 2 is deconfirmed.
Would have been really cool if we saw one closing frame with like two players on the same cart, but no, I don't think so.
Sean G says Mario Kart 8 Deluxe 2 for the Switch 2. I just put the 2 on the end. Celtaverse says handheld mode for backwards compatibility might feel like a downgrade compared to the OLED. It depends because it's an 8-inch screen, and I will tell you this: the PlayStation Portal, the screen on that LCD looks pretty good.
Looks nice. It's not.
Crispy.
I think people are still thinking Switch 1 LCD tech, and it's not going to look anything like that. Like the colors will still pop. It will still look really good quality. It's just you're not going to get the same level of color contrast and the true deep blacks like you do with the OLED screen. That'll be the only difference.
Also, we don't necessarily know the refresh rate of the screen.
True.
The Switch 2. Just throwing that out there. You never know. Could be a little surprise there. We'll see. We need Street Pass pack as legendary. Thanks, Donald.
No wrong.
Some kind of, again, something with community. I think that's a lot of people are hoping for with it. Sean G says since Switch 2 Direct is April 2nd. How many parodies will show up for April Fool's Day? I saw that date immediately. A facepalm. That's a good point. The day after.
Yep.
That's going to be rough. That Dan guy says will be the first third-party game announced for Switch 2.
Cyberpunk.
Hey, why not? Let's go. Alex Dan says who's going to play a FPS with flipped up Joy-Con as a mouse? I'm going to tell you now, I bet you a lot of people will do it. 1, for the novelty, and 2, some people might legitimately enjoy it. I don't know what the ergonomics will be on that. Maybe it'll be good. Dead Cool Pool says, do you think they will make a Switch 2 Mini or a Switch 2 Pro? Definitely make something smaller and cheaper.
Start those rumors now.
Absolutely.
Everyone's making big handhelds right now, though. They're just getting bigger and bigger. Not getting smaller.
They are.
See that 11-inch Acer
S2 XL. Let's go.
Ridiculous.
Crazy. That Dan guy says, looking at the top USB-C port, it makes me think it could be an accessory port, maybe for a second screen. People really want that second screen too.
A lot of people, man. That's the dream for Nintendo to go back to dual screen gameplay.
I think it's just for convenience. I don't really feel like it's for any specific purpose.
There has to be a word in psychology for disappointment from something that's
because I have one of those I think it's Ioneo handhelds, and that has 2 on top and the bottom, and it's just really convenient to like charge it and then like dock it on something at the same time, rather than, because if you do it at the bottom you can't just set it upright, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I think it's just for convenience, and I know there's a dock already, but if you use the dock then you're in dock mode at that point. So
yep, it's going to be that moment of the Ethernet port on the Switch OLED dock where everyone looks at that top port, thinks it's something crazy, and it really is just now you can charge it from the top, and that's it. So great. This is from Lino, says Switch 2 leaks ruined the excitement a bit, but glad the fuss is mostly over.
Yes.
Go around here as we finish up with some of the final super chats and everything. Evan, they ask you, which I'll start with you. Chilling asks, Evan, favorite Nintendo game and console, and then where can everyone find you?
I mean, within context, it would probably be Super Nintendo, Super Mario World, just because at that time, I think almost a year, I kept coming home from school and immediately playing that for hours. So,
classic game.
Yeah, probably you can find me on YouTube. If you're into tabletop games, hobby stuff, there's been some announcements. I have some stuff posted up. We've been also live streaming fun things like that guy I've been painting. He's been pretty enjoyable to work on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I just got the lights in for him because I'm going to be installing UV lights in his base because he glows. So it's super fun. So we're just working on stuff over there, putting out information for just tactics games, going over things. There's a big thing in Las Vegas actually going on for a tournament that's streaming all weekend as well. So that's kind of fun to watch.
Why aren't you here?
I wish.
Maybe next time.
Maybe.
Josie, David asked, do you believe the 24-player Mario Kart racetrack will be a separate mode, and where can everyone find you?
No, I think that's probably going to be the main gimmick, and you can find me on YouTube, Josie Will. I talk about Nintendo and stuff like that. We're also on Game & Talk with Celia and RGT, and Nate occasionally when he gets out of retirement. So, yeah, thank you for having me. Come check us out.
Have to load up the Stone Cold music for that.
What if half those players can only be AI?
Oh, that'd be so messed up.
That would be insane.
Rufflemut says, thought the embargo is the 23rd. I'm hearing good things about Assassin's Creed Shadows. How funny would it be if Shadow was nominated or won Game of the Year? Yeah, a lot of people were playing it. We'll see what their thoughts are. As you said, the 23rd, I guess. Yeah. Next week. Sean G says, if the members of the Spawncast were a superhero group, who would be the leader and what powers would each of you have?
I think MVG would be the leader because he's super wise.
No,
yeah,
I'd be running the accounting and the money department because
Wetworks. You'd be complete Wetworks. Yeah.
None of you guys know how to deal with money. I will handle the money. Someone else can run the organization.
MVG's the guy in the chair.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Who would someone have invisibility? Someone would have flight.
No,
I think I'd kind of turn into like the Hulk. I'd be super strong since I go to the gym.
I like the twist. Josie would be the Hulk. I like that.
That's what I imagine.
This is from look at it, Jack saying, Nate, we trust. Never doubted him for a second. Look at that.
Let's
See,
go.
Jackson's got him covered. Epic Dreamer says that Switch 2 Direct better show that Ocarina of Time remake. Let me go over to our guest here as we're closing out. Sunbro, where can everyone find you? And will there be an Ocarina of Time remake?
Will it be in a 2-pack with another Zelda game?
Ooh, at some point, Ocarina of Time remake, yes. Switch 2 Direct, no, I don't think. But hey, it's Zelda's 40th anniversary next year, so maybe then. When is Ocarina of Time's 30th anniversary? That's coming up or something, 2028. Yeah, I think it'll happen eventually. Miyamoto laughed at the end of an interview when asked about it. He didn't shut it down like he has shut down some other stuff, but or Aonuma rather, not Miyamoto. But yeah, you can find me on Sunbro Nation on YouTube. Lots of Nintendo focused content. The Switch 2's finally announced. We don't got to talk leaks, rumors, speculation around it. We know the name. I'll be covering all the stuff leading up to the launch, and then of course the games as we find out more about those, which is what I'm most excited to talk about. So feel free to come check me out on YouTube.
Kevin asked, best way to ensure I get a Switch 2 day one.
Pre-order.
Right. I know these places are setting up like emails and that kind of thing. My suggestion
find the trucks they're delivering them on, plan a heist.
I did this with the Switch when it first came out, which we'll see how it goes. But as soon as that presentation ends, they'll probably open pre-orders and everything. Go to GameStop. Go there and try to pre-order it because most likely they'll have it set up then. That's my recommendation because the
like
online
in person.
Yes, online stuff's gonna be crazy.
Also, if you do want to try to buy online, follow Jake Randall on Twitter. Yep. Follow like Wario64 stock tracker type accounts. They tweet out stuff immediately. You have to already have like accounts set up with every retailer, have your payment information saved already. And once that link goes live with the live stock drop, you got to just be there immediately.
Yeah.
Noah Smith says they're not going to do it, but I'm hoping we finally get achievements. I would like to see Nintendo spin on the achievements in general, see what they come up with. MVG, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Modern Vintage Gamer, and I would also like achievements as well. Thanks for having me on.
Just see what they do. Just see what they do. I already know what this is. All right, I've watched Simpsons. Thank you, Mr. I. Chances. Anyone want to read that out loud who doesn't hear it? No, everyone hears it. All right, good. Chances we get GameCube or Wii added to. MVG just read it in his mind. We get GameCube and Wii added to Nintendo Online exclusively on the Switch Squared. GameCube, I think, is coming. I don't know about Wii. It'd be interesting to see if they do that. I think GameCube, and I think it'd be cool if we got Dreamcast. Absolutely, those would be neat to see.
Mhm.
And Steven says, Spawn, I think the Switch 2 can be people's primary system again if Nintendo offers the right features, whereas Switch was secondary for most people. Celia, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Celia V. You can also find me on Game and Talk with Josie and Sean, RGT, and Nate when he comes back from his very long slumber and/or vacation. And lastly, you can find me at work at Yacht Club Games. The thing that I'm plugging is the Shovel Knight concert. If you haven't seen the announcement, we moved the Los Angeles dates due to the fire. So it's now March 30th. For more information, go to shovelknightconcert.com. Okay, that's my plug.
Killed that.
The top and bottom ports chain multiple Switch 2. Man, people really want to like attach these things together for like 4 or 5 screens, and that would be a Nintendo thing to do, to let you chain these things together, because then they can sell you a bunch of them.
Oh my god, it could be the Nintendo Lincoln Logs, like they can all stack.
I'm telling you. And I think that's everything there. Yes, I do want to close out with this one. Aiden says, I apologize to Nate. Wasn't familiar with this game. See? It's okay. Look, if you wrote off Nate, discounted him, whatever, you can just say apologize, and Nate's very forgiving. He's got you covered. go say hi to him on his latest episode in the comments. So, but that's everything actually here on the Spawncast. Thanks everyone for joining. Everyone here on the show is linked down below in the description. Check them out on their channels. Go say hi, or Celia, go say hi to her on Twitter. Everyone else, go say hi to on their YouTube. Give them a thumbs up and subscribe. That's going to do it here for us. Thanks everyone for joining. We will be back next Friday night. We'll see. Live, maybe, probably. We'll see. We'll see you guys then.